This is the Mountainside Podcast, and returning to the studio is my good friend Chris Camozzi. Chris is a UFC veteran, former Glory kickboxer. He's had an extensive career at the highest level in mixed martial arts that has led him recently into the ring for bare knuckle boxing and a recent title shot right here in Denver. But above all that, I always enjoy having Chris in studio. This was a great conversation. We dove all over the place, and I hope that you enjoy the listen.
Am I sitting good? Okay. Cameras, everything?
So, yeah. Dude, welcome back.
Hey, thank you.
I had a fucking blast this month, dude. I always forget to drink. I'm too busy flapping my lips.
It's bad luck.
I had a blast this month, dude. It was like, my wife's probably ready to divorce me, but like, I was like, I'm going elk hunting for a week, and then I came out just to go to your fight and hung out with the Parkers and a couple SEALs and just some former NHL players, and we had fucking ringside seats thanks to those guys.
Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, and got to go to your fight. I know it didn't turn out your way, but I had a blast, dude, and then got to hang out with you a little bit afterwards.
I know, yeah. I wish I got to see like Scott and Francesca and everybody after. I know Francesca didn't get to go to the fight, but I didn't get to meet all the people at the table with you guys. Like I saw DJ and you at the after party. But
we were trying to coax them along, but they were like, I don't know, they were too dug in.
Yeah, I mean, it was a late night, but
Yeah.
it didn't go my way. But I'm not too like disappointed about it. I mean,
You shouldn't be, dude.
part of me is, but it's a split decision, right? And depending on who you ask, it could go either way. So to me, it's unfinished business. And so that's what I'm pushing for now. Like if I got to fight somebody in between, I will.
Mm-hmm.
But Lorenzo has knocked out everybody else in the division. And I'm like, man, there was nothing like
Who else
super
has
decisive.
gone 5 rounds with him, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there was nothing super decisive, right?
No, and I felt like you won the later rounds, in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm biased because you're my friend, but you were definitely ragdolling him. You know what I mean? And like,
I know I need to watch it back. Actually,
Yeah.
I've watched it
Have you?
once,
Okay.
really quick, and I was like fast forwarding.
give it a
through
couple
cards.
weeks, dude. You don't need to watch it right now, but
I don't usually watch myself fight. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because I just cringe. Even if I like dominate, I'm like, oh my God, why was I doing that? I'm like my biggest critic. But the way I look at it is I'm supposed to have a call with David Feldman, the president. We'll see what they want to do. They might let him go up to heavyweight now, which to me promotionally isn't like the best idea because he has the light heavyweight belt, which is I think 185 with BKFC. It's different weight classes. Then cruiserweight is what we fought for. So he has those two belts. And if they let him go to heavyweight.
I didn't realize he had both titles, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if he wins the heavyweight one, all those divisions are locked up. Here's what I was thinking. I haven't said this yet, so I was waiting for here. This will never happen, but because we had 5 rounds, right, and there was no decision, they've recently started doing shows in like Thailand and stuff, which is way less regulated. So I'm like, why don't we rematch someplace like Thailand, and we'll just go till somebody wins. How about that? No rounds, no. Because, I mean, I was good after 5 rounds. We could have kept going. I think he was too. You know, he was, excuse me, he was tired, but, you know, that's the altitude too. So what if we went somewhere like Thailand where there's no, like, regulating body that's like, no, there can only be a certain amount of rounds. And we
Maybe
just do
some real judges that understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even
I mean,
fault
it
the
is
judge
boxing,
as much. You know,
yeah.
it's
I just hate split decisions. I'm like, I
split
don't know.
decisions. Nobody's ever happy.
Yeah, it should go to like a 6th round or almost like an overtime, in my opinion. At some point, if it's a split decision, like,
Yeah, well, so the 6th round was an option.
was it?
Yeah.
No shit.
So at the end of the 5th, they were telling us in the corner, like, we don't know yet. So just stay ready.
I would have been screaming that shit. I was sitting right behind the announcer, so
I didn't know that until the weigh-ins, actually. They came and talked to me, and they're like, hey, so just so you know, here's how we do things. And I was like, oh, shit, all right. I was like, it's not going 5 anyway.
right.
I was like, I'm not worried about the 6th round. But to me, that's a cool way to do it. Will they ever do it? Probably not. But we could take it like you got bare knuckle, right? That's kind of like from the 1800s. And then what if we went to another country where we don't have to worry about the regulation and we do it like the Gracie style. Like, let's just go till somebody wins. We can still do the 2-minute rounds and just go until somebody wins. If that's 15 rounds, if it's 10, if it's
15
1.
rounds would be fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, but I think that would be a cool bucket list thing, and then there's no argument after that.
Right.
I mean, because you're going till somebody wins. Somebody has to quit or be out.
What a great way to promote it too, huh? In another country, and just like have all the hype from America as well. Like,
all the bloodthirsty people that are
I
like, somebody die.
Let's not hope that. But fuck, man, it is just. I've really fallen in love with it, man. Like
me too.
Like next to, watching the UFC or something like that. Like I genuinely enjoy these. There's one aspect that I am going to criticize about it, and it was the whole WWE walkout scenario with him and the fucking costumes and the rapping and all that sort of stuff. And like the hype man for BKFC, I'm not really a fan of, like the t-shirt bazooka and like that kind of antics, right? Your walkout was fucking badass, dude. It was a Johnny Cash cover song, but it was done by like
Marilyn Manson.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
That was so badass, man. I was like, fuck yeah.
I know. I was
You
working.
did it right, dude.
I was working on having like a custom song made, and it fell through. Where I had like, I forget the guy's name. Do you remember the movie The Punisher?
Yes.
Where the guy's singing the song before he tries to kill him.
Okay, I don't remember that far back, but
I'll have to play it for you after. I've got it on my phone.
Yeah, unfortunately, we get pulled off of YouTube and shit if we play music, because I would love to play that Marilyn Manson walkout.
Oh yeah,
that was hard as fuck, dude.
Was it? Okay.
And I think I was about 5 or 6 tequilas in by that point. Maybe a White Claw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like. It's funny because I'm not necessarily the biggest Marilyn Manson fan. I don't know. I like his music, but
his tone though with that song and everything, like I'm not really a Marilyn Manson fan. I've worked for him in the past.
How was that?
Decent guy. I mean, pretty much what you would expect, somebody that keeps to themselves. Like,
I mean, he looks like a fucking weirdo. Like, I'm not shocked.
I'm
if he's
sure
a weirdo.
he's in the mirror, like hyping himself up before he comes out. And he's one of those people, like Kanye was very much like this when I worked for him. They literally are in their dressing room all by themselves. Like, they don't have an entourage. They don't want people around them.
They're not like normal people.
Yeah, you can just tell it's kind of like a hermit mentality.
Yeah.
You know
and I
what
could
mean?
see getting to that point after a while, being so famous where you're like, sometimes peace and quiet is probably what they strive for the most. Yeah.
Especially when everybody's coming at you for something, right?
Yeah. Or just trying to like, you get to a point of fame, I'm sure, where you don't even know if people are your real friends, not like all the tag-alongs. Like, you see it with all the bands and stuff. Like,
I
some
saw
of
it
them,
with you the other night. I mean, just like going to your after party.
Yeah.
And it was something that you didn't really announce either. And look at how many people were there. And I barely got to talk to you, and it was fine. It was just like, I was honestly running a little bit of interference for you here and there. Because I'd see you get cornered and I'd be like, hey, Chris, come over here. You got to meet somebody. Or I would send Beto over to go get you or whatever. Beto would perk up. He's like, we got to go fucking rescue him.
I know. That's the thing with after parties. And like, I love all the support and everything. But yeah, people do come out like that I don't hang out with regularly, but I maybe have known them. Like, there were people that I went to middle school with that I haven't talked to since middle school. And showed up, and I'm like, oh, great to see you.
So
and
it's
then,
like a high school reunion at that point or something, huh?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I want to like talk to my friends that are like my friends, and people that I like do see and hang out with now. And then the people you haven't seen forever are like, so what have you been doing the last 20 years, And you're like, well, shit, like this is a really long conversation.
Right.
But I mean, either way, like everybody... Like, that's all. There's no way I could complain about that. It's not like,
I guess it's better than the opposite, having no support, right? Like,
yeah.
I genuinely, like, it's very seldom that I get stopped, but occasionally I do. And especially here in town, like, people that listen to the podcast, and they know more about me than I know about them, so it's kind of an awkward conversation, I guess, at some points.
Yeah. I tried to make a point.
But I try to spend time with them at least, right? Because I want them to know that, like, A, I'm genuine, and yes, I do care, and thank you for listening to the podcast, whoever you are, no matter where you're at. Like,
yeah,
it's the reason why I'm able to keep doing this, and
for sure. And then I try to ask about them too.
Yeah,
because I feel awkward. Like
I'm the
you
same
said, if
way.
you get stopped by somebody and they're like, they know all this stuff about you, I'm like, so what do you do? You know, like, I don't like one-sided conversations.
So shitty.
I deflect all the time, actually.
Yeah.
Whitney makes fun of me for it because people will be like, bring up all this stuff about me. And I'm like, so anyways, though, like, how have you been? Like, tell me about you. I don't like watching my fights, talking about myself a ton. You know, podcasts are different because, like, we're here to.
It's kind of like the boys hanging out. Like, I've been more open on this than I would be in a normal conversation, like sitting at a bar, I think, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something weird. Like, I swear to God, and I'm not a smart guy, but my IQ goes up when I have a microphone on and there's headphones and there's like no distractions. Like, it maybe 0.5%, but I feel it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have very much of it, and that little bit of it makes me be more thought out because I am thinking about the future. Like, this is something that's time stamped forever, right? So
Yeah, are we live or no? I can't.
no,
Okay.
I don't do anything live. Thank God we don't
That's
have
like-
a good internet connection up here because
I think it's better that way.
yeah,
The repercussions nowadays that come with, like, yeah, if you are hanging out with the boys and you say something and you're like, well, fuck, that wasn't for everybody to hear, or this day and age of like, there's so many things that you're not supposed to say, or everybody's going to come at you.
yeah. I've had a few moments where I've had like some former operators in, like some of the friends that we were talking about prior to hit and record, and they've said too much. So they're like, hey, dude, we're going to get in trouble. So you got to at least edit that part out. But for the most part, when I come in here and hit record, we don't really edit anything out. It's kind of whatever it is. So,
But it's a safety net.
it is a safety net. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Like I said, well, I won't repeat it, but there was like things on Luke's podcast I said the other night. And I'm like,
his is live too. Huh?
I know.
You were just on there? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I saw that on an IG post or something. Yeah.
Yeah, the Gladiators
He's
Unfiltered.
such a good dude, man.
He is. And there was a time where I was like, oh, shit, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. You know, it was like maybe some derogatory term or something that's not even derogatory but not acceptable anymore. And he's like, who gives a shit? This is Gladiators Unfiltered. You can say whatever you want. And I'm like, no, I can say whatever I want, but it's the repercussions that come with, like,
Yeah.
you know.
I've had some people come at me hard just for like stupid little things I've said. I was like, really? That's what upset you? Because they'll take it out of context too. Like, maybe they only are focusing on that one part and didn't listen to anything I said before or after it, you know? So it's like,
Everybody's just looking to be mad about something.
Yeah. I don't know. But for the most part, like, I get nothing but, like, I would say 98% of it is positive feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because you won't
I'm
listen
not a
if you're
huge
not
platform, but like,
yeah, I mean, and then that was my thing. Like, when I get criticism for my podcast, I'm like, well, then just don't listen. Like, I don't care that much. I'm not doing this because I'm making millions of dollars. You know, just don't listen if you don't like what I say. It's all opinion based. I'm not a scientist, like, coming in with facts.
right.
I'm coming in with the opposite of facts. Actually, half of what I say might have to be verified.
And I think that that's part of podcasting, is just kind of thinking out loud and trying to be in the moment and have that conversation, and your brain's always kind of rolling. So like, sometimes I think the hardest part for me, and now that it's taken me over 100 episodes to learn it, is to actually listen to somebody when they're sitting across from you. And I think that that's the best way, is like, listen to what they're saying and just go where the conversation goes. Like,
Yeah, because I mean, it took me, I can't remember how many episodes I did. I'm going to bring it back up here soon. Yeah, I know we were talking about that. But I used to come in with like bullet points in order. And I realized in the earlier episodes, I would be like, you know, if the conversation would veer, rather than me just having like a normal conversation, I'd be like, so anyways, like, what did you think about this? Or
yeah, you change the subject, and it's just because you like have to stick to that. I did the same exact thing. And then I quickly found out, I was like, I'm just shooting myself in the foot.
yeah.
Like,
My OCD brain would not let me skip a bullet point. So if, like, after like 10 minutes, I'd be like, so, and it would just be the hardest turn. I want to go back to this.
I got it too, dude. Ask Gabby. I mean, the studio is all my OCD, you know, kicked in.
Yeah.
Like, fucking
looks good,
old
though.
school roadie, you know, like we all have OCD. If you're a roadie and you say you don't have OCD, you are a fucking liar, dude. Like,
For sure.
every single one of them does.
Do you have trips coming up? Like, I don't know if you're ever allowed to say like who or what, but
Yeah, I just got finished with the Foo Fighters, so I had an epic September. I was
I
doing
like the
some
Foo
stuff with the Foo Fighters. I never actually got to see them because I left early to go elk hunting.
Oh,
Yeah, and so that was cool. That was with a company that I don't really want to name because I'll probably just get hate for working for them. They're not a very well-liked company in the tech world, but anyways, it was good for me. So did that in San Francisco, was kind of the last big one, and currently talking with, and I think I can say this out loud because there's no like named artists. Sometimes the artists get weird, like you have to sign NDAs.
yeah.
And the artists don't want they don't want it known that they're doing like private parties sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like,
I've worked those before.
yeah, you know what's up. So anyways, sometimes I can mention them, sometimes I can't, but I'm actually maybe doing some stuff in Vegas with Formula One.
Oh, that's what
coming
you're
up,
talking about.
which
Yeah.
I kind of don't really want to do, but if I have to, I'll go do it.
Really? I
Yeah.
think that would be badass.
I don't
I've
know,
never been to a
around
race, but
if it was MotoGP, I'd totally be on board, dude. Have you ever been to one of those?
I've never been to any race. I've been to drag races at like Bandamere,
Okay.
you know, back in the day,
Yeah.
the dragsters and stuff, but I've never been to one of those, and I don't watch racing at all, but I've heard they're awesome to go to.
It depends on the race for me because I used to work for Monster Energy and Red Bull, so I've been to air races. Those were pretty dope,
That
like
would
where
be
they
cool.
fly like the planes through the pylons and stuff. Motorcycle races are the best, dude. So whether it's like motocross is fucking one of the best sports you can watch live, dude.
I guess I've been to motocross and like supercross.
Okay, Supercross is awesome, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I had a buddy, do you know Mikey Henderson? He
I
lives
know
here.
the name, yeah.
He was riding for Supercross last time they were here in Denver at the, what is it now, the Mile High. Whatever.
Yeah, that's the big leagues, dude. That's the NFL of motocross.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
went for the day and watched, you know, and it was like
Oh,
nice
that's
weather,
awesome.
sitting out there and like watching him, and it was cool.
Yeah, those are epic, man. That's actually how I know Bates and like made connections with Beto and stuff.
Oh, really?
Is they used to do, and that's how Bates met his wife, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Diana was through Supercross. So we used to do that all together, and we did the entire tour. So we would go all around the country, like
Oh, that's cool.
setting up activations and going to the races. And dude, I had the best time with the racers. And
I don't understand any of that. Mikey's like enlightened me on some of it.
yeah,
Like the cardio and strength and all that it takes. Because
it's insane, dude.
when you're the outside looking in, you're thinking, you know, when I used to here and there like watch racing or friends that liked racing, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll come chill and drink beer and we'll watch it, and they'd be talking about all the like ins and outs, and to me I was like, yeah, you're in a car like turning left, you know. And then I got into more of being an athlete and having friends explain like the G-force, like their neck, like switching positions. There's so much like inner workings that if you are new to it, you don't even understand, like the jockeying for position. Yeah. I don't even want to
Motocross.
pretend to explain it. But
Yeah, motocross is intense. And I guess that's kind of where I was going with, because I've been to NASCAR events. I've been to the Baja a bunch of times. And as a spectator, the best one to watch is Supercross, because you're sitting in a football stadium and you can see the entire track.
yeah,
You can see the passes. You can see every wreck if you're paying attention. Like, it's fucking epic. But, like, you go to the Baja, and sometimes the start line is in Ensenada and the finish line is in Cabo. So
Yeah.
you don't see anything other than the trucks taking
Just
off.
vroom.
Yeah. And then I'm coming back with no fenders and shit, right? Like, there's no, like, I guess there are, like, some of the bigger teams, like BJ Baldwin's and stuff, they have chase helicopters. And a lot of times they'll throw a camera on those so you can kind of see, like, their pit stops or if they're in a ditch or whatever.
yeah. And
That's a
the same
wild
as-
ass race, dude. But
Is that in cars?
it's in, like, trophy trucks. So, like, if
Oh, the
I was
trophy
going
trucks
to
are
race
sick.
one thing, dude, that would be fucking it, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what the trophy trucks are. I would love to drive one.
I
of
got
those.
to ride in one time, like working for Monster, and it was
Really?
a bucket list for me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I had a boner the whole time for sure. And I don't get excited about much, you know.
Oh, those things are amazing. I
Yeah.
know what they are. Like, I'm not a big like car person, but I know what the trophy trucks are. I know
They're
how
like
much
a
they cost.
$5 million truck, man.
Yeah.
They're like fucking 900 horsepower and suspension that, like, we were doing like 120, I think, and that was like kind of a crawling speed, I guess, through the desert.
Yeah.
and we're coming up on these ravines that are like 6-foot drop offs, and I'm like white knuckled.
Like, slow down.
And you don't even feel it.
Man.
And they're pumping oxygen into your, because of all the dust and stuff. So it's fed oxygen. So you're just on this oxygen high while you're in this truck. It's like going to an oxygen bar, but you're doing 120 miles an hour.
You're not relaxed.
Like, yeah, your adrenaline is just like at a fucking, it was so rad. And it was like a 2-minute ride I got, you know?
Yeah. I have a buddy who, because I think they do a Baja thing for motocross. He was telling me he had gotten offered to do one of the races where it's like a team race. But he said, he's like, I'm out. And I was like, really? Why? That seems like it'd be cool. And I didn't realize.
There's dudes that die.
Yeah. So this probably needs to be verified, but this is like telephone, word of mouth. But he was saying like, there's literally people like will put pits and stuff out there.
Yeah,
he said something with the cartel because like if the race happens, who knows if it's through one of their like drug running zones. They'll put a pit where like you'll be riding full speed and just fall in a hole or like kill yourself. Or he was saying there's weird human-made obstacles that will be there, and he's like, you could be riding.
They're trying to sabotage this truck, and that's why they honestly come back with no fenders and shit. Like people, if they get stuck or something, the main cause of it. I mean, obviously they're going through the desert, so shit's gonna rip off. These trucks literally come back almost just a frame, because if they do get stuck, like the locals go out and just fucking rip the fender off, and like it's their trophy, right? It's Mexico, dude.
It's a trophy truck, right?
And you're in the middle of the desert, like, and they're out there, but they purposely dig pits and shit so they can go get a piece of the truck or whatever. It's kind of like,
yeah, he was telling me that with
crazy
the bikes
fucks.
too.
It's kind of like running with the bulls, like in Spain. They'll run out onto the track and try to like
beat the truck.
Yeah, and I think that there's a bunch of people that die that they don't really.
I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
I call that natural selection. I mean,
hey, if you're dumb enough to run out there, like if there's enough tequila, you know, like it was pretty wild. We did, so I was there with Monster, and I'm pretty sure Bates was with me. I don't know if he went down to this, but like the main dude from Monster came to me and he was like, hey, there's this trophy truck thing. And Gabby, you have to see if you can pull this up. Look up 360 Ensenada. It might be on my personal Instagram page. But anyways, he came to me. He's like, hey, there's this stunt that we're trying to pull off as a promo.
I think it's ENC.
I'm so bad at spelling.
I don't want to call you out.
Please do.
Just put in like Baja or 360 trophy truck jump, maybe something like that. So anyways, we go down, we build this ramp for this dude. And I'm sorry, I'm totally forgetting his name. Oh, here it is right there. It's the one in the middle.
The barrel
roll.
Wait, in the middle?
So I built this ramp for this guy with like a forklift, and we couldn't get like, we'll watch it real quick and then I'll tell you the whole story.
Sometimes I need to paraphrase.
Holy shit, that's loud.
Nuts.
Yeah, this was wild. So they came to me and they were like, hey, the heavy equipment didn't come through. Can we drive our forklift down there? I was like, dude, this is a warehouse forklift and it's in the bottom of this river flat, right?
A warehouse forklift.
And I was like, it's not going to drive in dirt. Like,
they're not built for off-road.
Yeah. And I was like, listen, oh shit, there's me on the forklift. That's crazy. I haven't even seen this video yet. This was a few years ago, like probably 10 or 12 years ago.
Oh, and this guy barrel rolls? I mean, just by the title of the video.
Yeah. So it was a stunt where he's supposed to land on his wheels, right? So we drug the forklift down there as far as we could get it. And then I'm telling him, like, you guys got to go to Home Depot and, like, buy some plywood so we can actually, like, drive to get the forklift to, like, set up. Like, we're going to have to, like, drive on plywood. There's no way. But look at all the people that showed up for this.
Holy shit.
Dude, they started ripping houses apart and shit so we could get the forklift to where we needed to go.
That is nuts.
So this is the type of shit we were doing down in Baja. And it was just like, there's no rules. It was so much fun, man. It was fucking awesome. So this was like a day before the race or the night before at some sort of party.
And this guy's racing too or no?
No, he was just there doing the stunt. Like,
okay, I was gonna say, like, what if you're set to race and he gets fucked up?
Like Ken Block would show up, and they had like a radar gun to see how fast he was going. They kept timing it because you have to be going the exact speed to flip it. But I got to do so much cool shit in racing, and honestly, This is, as a spectator, this is probably something I would go and watch again.
Oh yeah,
But
I'll go to any sporting event.
NASCAR, boring as shit, dude. Formula
Really?
One, pretty boring. MotoGP, on the other hand, is fucking incredible because it's like the Formula One of super bikes, right? So they're
Yeah.
like it's unbelievable what these guys do. They're like, their wheels won't even be touching the ground and they're still turning in the air, like, and gripping. I don't understand the physics. It's like mind
Really?
over matter type shit.
You know what's
Houdini shit, dude.
What's crazy is if you go to like Camozzi.com, they're because we're all like related one way or another. It's not a super common name, but there's an entire like international company, and they're big in racing, like Formula One, everything. Like helmets say Camozzi. I always used to try to get them to sponsor me. I'm like, we got the same name, you know? And like, but they do.
I've always tried to get Marshall Amps to,
Yeah.
you know, because of the industry that I'm in, especially when I worked with Slayer, because it was just nothing but a wall of Marshall Amps. I was like, come on, you guys got to at least like hook me up with some shirts or something.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I don't know anything about racing, but some of it's cool. I would go to a NASCAR one too. You know, Isle of Man. Have you ever heard of that?
I've been there.
Have you?
So
So
it was a bucket list, man. And I finished the tour and we timed it right and got over there and fucking got it hosted by these amazing people because it's like impossible to go to as a spectator.
yeah, I got to hook you up with another guy actually,
Okay.
who would be great to have on here. So he's the BKFC photographer now,
Oh, right.
but I've known him since I was a kid. It's just oddly enough that I'm in BKFC and he's the photographer because he used to do a lot of UFC stuff and everything, but he used to go to Isle of Man every year and be the photographer for them. So he would get hired by them.
No way.
Yeah, so he
What
has
a
some
job,
he has
man.
some crazy stories about just being there with like the lenses and just like getting the wrecks and everything.
I definitely want to talk
He
to
lives
him.
here, yeah. So remind me when we get off.
So, you know, I have a little bit of a photography background in the music industry.
Oh,
And
really?
that's led me to, it's opened some doors, and like the motorcycle community has embraced me, whether it was clubs or whoever, to go shoot for them. And I shot some for Monster, like at Supercross and stuff. But I got invited to the Barber Museum. It's outside of Talladega Raceway, but it's a motorcycle museum. And it's awesome, man. They have everything from like steam motorcycles to like the first lawnmower made up to like present day
Really?
motorcycles. So they have all these old Harleys and Indians and just like, but they have this bike in there. It's a Vasiletti, and it's the only motorcycle that's won the Isle of Man twice.
Oh shit.
And it's there on display, and it is fucking beautiful, dude. I'll show you some pictures of it when we get off, man. It is fucking cool. It's like 1936 and 37. I think like back to back, or 37 and 30. Might have been 36 and 38.
It's been going on that long?
It's wild, dude. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I didn't even know what Isle of Man was until, so his name is Phil Lambert.
Okay.
He's been a photographer all over the place, and he was telling me one time like he had the Isle of Man coming up. And I felt bad because he was like, yeah, I got this, you know, and I was like, what's that? And then he just sent me like 2 or 3 videos, and I was like, holy shit. And he's like 1 to 3 or 4 people die every year racing this thing.
It's crazy because it is a super bike race where they're doing 220, 260 miles an hour in certain parts of the
through
track.
towns.
And there's cobblestone like walls like this
Yeah.
big. So if you crash, you die.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same sort of thing as like the Baja a little bit. Like there's no like set, like you have to go through certain checkpoints, I think, in the roads, but they don't have like
You're just
a
out
race
in the
set up.
desert.
So there's those assholes that get drunk enough and are Irish, right?
Of course there are.
Yeah. They're kind of like that Mexican heritage. They get a little bit crazy, right? And they'll try to run out in front of bikes. And it's just crazy to be like sitting on a balcony and you hear the things coming like a bumblebee. And then the next thing, you can't even try to fathom. They literally just go by like a blur.
Yeah, your eye catches it. Just boom.
Yeah. It's like something out of your peripheral. It's so rad.
See, people think fighting is crazy. And then I look at stuff like that, bull riding,
Oh my God. Rodeo. dudes are
Supercross.
Crazy.
So like, yeah, my buddy who does Supercross, he's like, man, you're crazy for doing this. And I'm like, you're crazy for flying like 80 feet in the air, like on a machine at like full speed and doing like tricks and all these crazy things where I'll fight 10 people before I'll get on a bull. Like, yeah, an animal that doesn't speak the same language, that's pissed off and like trying to fuck you up. So one part is riding it, or like the machines, you know, One part's riding it. The other part is like what happens when you wreck or fall off.
You know who's even crazier than those guys? Like the actual riders are the bull fighters. So they call them like bull. They're rodeo clowns, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's a difference. I've been corrected, but I've been talking to some of those guys to come on, and we've had a pro rodeo photographer on. My buddy that lives here in town, Mike Pintar, shout out. Fucking amazing dude. And he's out in the arena with these like fucking 2,000-pound animals that are trying to basically fuck or kill anything that they see, right? Like
How have we not come up with a better thing than like that? You know, with technology and everything. Like I've been to a holographic like Michael Jackson concert before, and like a Tupac one. Like you can't put a hologram person in there and let the bull chase that. Like a real person being out there, like, hey, you know, like over here.
That's a great point. Like a projected bullfighter.
Technology's come far enough where we can like.
You would think.
I'd rather shoot a pistol in the ground and scare that thing off than.
But I guess the argument could be made: why couldn't you do that in bare knuckle fighting so guys don't have to go fucking? It's kind of that tough guy. Fucking these dudes are rock stars, man. They're like kind of that.
I know.
Fucking drinking, fighting, loving cowboys.
But those guys get no love, and like the sport is riding the bull.
Oh yeah.
The rodeo clowns or whatever you call them now, like they get nothing. They probably don't even make that much money. They don't make what they should make.
In the grand scheme of things, no. Like they probably are making maybe $100K a year. I don't know.
Yeah, fuck that. There's a million other ways I could make $100K a year.
I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. I think it's gone up like every professional sport, especially like when you start getting these larger companies involved.
I didn't think those guys even make that.
Real guys, like even the top 15 guys in the world don't make. Like I'm pretty sure it's six figures, but it's not like what you would think you would for the amount of risk.
Yeah, well, they're not even the stars. Like they don't get the recognition or anything, which they should, because that should be a sport in itself. It should be like two sports at once. Bull rider falls off, and then it's like, which clown can survive? I don't know.
Well,
give them some recognition.
They actually have a thing called bullfighters only now, and it's where they like turn a bull loose in the pen, and it's like a one-on-one thing. And these guys have to they get judged, right? Like on points or something, and they have to do tricks. Like, so these guys are like running across their back and like doing backflips off the bull.
Oh,
look up Blake Miller on Instagram. This guy has the sickest videos, and he's just like this country boy from Texas. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if you search Blake Miller or the Blake Miller in our search thing, he should come up. I've been talking with him a little bit. And he does all this like, yeah, that guy right there. He's got some pretty amazing shit. This is him rescuing somebody. Shout out to Blake. He's been cool. But, I mean, look at this shit, dude. Like, you don't have to do that.
That's what I mean.
You're not getting paid extra for that.
I was saying, I hope he makes millions of dollars because, like, that's wild.
It was funny. I was actually, how we connected is my buddy Mike Pintar was on. And he came up in conversation. And I started making fun of him, like something about his hair or something. And he hit me back. Like he was ready to kick my ass, I think, dude.
Really?
And I was like, bro, take it easy, man. I was just joking, but we've become friends through that. He's like, but man, you didn't have to dig on the hair, dude. Like,
yeah. Because I grew up with like some guys that I went to high school with and stuff were all like cowboys and rode bulls and stuff. So
I know some of the same people.
Yeah.
I'm sure. The Forest. Do you know the Forest?
Maybe.
Okay. We'll talk about it off the air, but
yeah. But I would go, you know, like weekend nights, we'd go down and like I'd watch them ride bulls and stuff. And like I went down to the shoots. Like one buddy had a ranch, like his dad did, and they had bulls and stuff. And I remember one of my friends rode one, and then he's like, "You're next." And I was like, "I'm not getting on that fucking thing. There's no chance at all."
Hell no.
And like being in the shoots and hearing those things just like, and like the cowboys getting on it, and the thing is pissed. Even just being in the shoot, like outside of the metal thing, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah, those guys are crazy. Gabby, look up one more. Michael Pintar or Pintar Photography. This dude takes the most amazing photos. Just look up Pintar, I think. PIN, and it should come right up. Yeah, right there. Check out some of these photos that he gets of these horses, like just doing... You know, like catching athletes in motion? This guy does, man. Like,
That's a badass photo.
That's a cool photo, but that's not even a good one. Like, scroll down a little bit, Gabby.
That.
Keep going. Keep going. Oh, there's his mountainside. Give me some love right there.
You didn't even like it. Oh, no, it's your post.
Yeah. Keep going down. Keep going down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he takes. There's just some fucking wild photos. Like this, these aren't even that wild, but like, he's
me,
got
it
some
is.
crazy ones of like horses completely upside down or like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would rather they're
Like,
like,
look at that, dude.
I would rather they tell me like, hey, tonight you're gonna fight 10 people. We'll see how it goes. I would do that before that.
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
with you.
man.
I think I'd rather get in the ring, but I bet you if you ask a lot of these guys, they're comfortable with it. They can kind of predict what these animals are going to do. Like,
It's all what you get used to, I guess. Look
Yeah.
at this guy. Like,
yeah, isn't that a badass photo though? This guy's
Yeah.
fucking amazing, dude. He lives right here too. He's a super cool guy.
that's
Bow
wild.
hunter. Look at how high that bull is off the ground.
Yeah.
It's like 6-8 feet in the air, dude.
Yeah, I'm
That's
good on
insane. The thing's moving like a cat, dude.
that. Right? They should superimpose that in like the sky and stuff. I would, if I was good at technology, I could have all
That
kinds
photo's
of.
so good it looks like it's superimposed. Like the
Like it's
dirt
flying.
flying looks like the stars.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. He's such a badass photographer though, man.
That's cool.
But that's what he
Pintar.
does is he travels around to all these. He's a rodeo photographer, and that's his gig. And
That's nuts.
he's got some fucking stories to tell. Let me tell you, man. Like it's fucking. He's an awesome guy.
Yo, that is insane.
So speaking about like we were talking about like going into like kind of getting fanboyed, right? Let's just say that. So I don't know if I told you this. I told you Bert Kreischer is in town.
Yeah.
So I went down to the local coffee shop to grab a coffee, and I walked out of the coffee shop, and I almost ran right into him, dude. And I was like, "Oh my god, hey, what the fuck?" Or I think my first words were like, "What the fuck?" You know, like because I was just totally thrown off. Like I was going to get a coffee, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see him. I knew he was in town, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I just DM'd you this morning." I totally like a piece of shit, but I dropped your name. I was like, "Stop by the studio." Or whatever. So I'm gonna check the DMs right now and see.
That'll be fun. Yeah, he's hilarious, man. I've been a fan of that guy for a really long time.
The machine.
Are you going to the show tomorrow?
I don't know. I reached out to my connections and they said they couldn't do anything for me. So,
Really? Yeah.
yeah, Bert. This will air long before you're gone, but yeah, no DM back. I think he was probably like, "This guy's a fucking psycho."
Right. You should have tore your shirt off.
Yeah, I should have got more crazy, but I didn't. Also, like, I hate fanboying people, you know, so I didn't really take the time. I was just like, "Oh, big fan, da 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 da. I got a podcast studio." Like, I'm sure, how many times has he heard that, you know? Like,
Yeah, there's one thing though, like, so I listened to his like Bertcast and Two Bears and stuff, and it's funny because he'll tell stories about him fanboying over like
Right.
people. So I'm like, all right, like it's part of the game, right?
he was cool. He was like right away. He was like, "What's up, buddy?" You know, like
Really?
what you would expect. Like he was exactly like what you would expect. Like he took the time to meet me and like shake my hand. He wasn't like a germaphobe or
Yeah,
anything like that, right? Like he was super cool.
that's always good when you.
And he had
Like,
his wife with him. Shout out to Leanne. She was super cool. Talked with her for a brief second or whatever. But I just didn't really want to stop them. I felt like they were just waking up, and I was like, just rolling out of the coffee shop.
you seen
So-
his bus around here or anything? I know he always talks about how he gets a bus with his face on
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, it might be. It could be parked somewhere here in town. I know he loves Evergreen. Do you want another one of those? Or do you want to
I might
switch
do-
to something?
I might do a whiskey.
Okay. Gabby, would you mind hooking Chris up with some ice? You want ice on the rocks?
Yeah, please.
Okay, cool. And then
Thank you.
dude,
This cup.
Jeremy's been drinking me out of whiskey. This is how I pay Jeremy. So Jeremy, if you're listening to this,
We'll do the Basil Hayden.
we got
Sounds good. Oh
This
wait,
is
what else
some-
you got?
there's some Irish whiskey here.
Oh, I gotta go with the
we got-
Irish one.
We got this Conor McGregor bullshit that nobody drinks.
I don't think it's terrible. I think
I don't
everybody
think
likes
it's
the
horrible.
Place
either.
for you?
Yeah,
We got plenty of whiskeys, Chris. So
I'm more of an Irish whiskey person. I like the Buffalo Trace though. There's some Kentucky like bourbons and stuff I like.
thanks, Gabby.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
But
Just
That's actually pretty good Irish whiskey.
I don't know if I've ever had this one.
Yeah, it's not what you would typically think. It's a little bit oaky, but that was gifted to me, and I actually really like it. I've been on a tequila kick lately. Like, that's all I drink is tequila. It's been...
Is it? I don't discriminate. Yeah. I'll drink it all. But, yeah, it was just in Ireland, actually, so that was cool. So,
that's badass. Yeah. Was that for Whitney's fight?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I guess, I don't remember how many months ago that was, but it was cool. I'd never been to Ireland. And went to Dublin.
Did she win her last fight?
Yeah.
Okay, that's super rad.
Yeah, she killed it. So that was cool.
Dude, you snagged a good one. Like,
yeah.
The other night was the first night where I actually like sat down and like talked to her for a minute.
Oh, really?
You know, because I didn't really get a chance to meet her before, and she's super cool lady, man. Like, you did good job, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She's super down to earth.
Good job on you, Whitney, cornering this dude. Yeah,
you're lucky. She lucked out. No, I'm just kidding.
We got to get Whitney in here. I'd love to talk to her at some point.
Yeah. She would definitely come out anytime.
Rad.
But yeah, she's the best, man. But yeah, we went to Dublin for her fight, and it was a blast. You know, I've never been to Ireland. I've been to a lot of Europe and all over the world, but Ireland never happened. And my grandma came from Ireland, so like Northern Ireland. So that was cool. I didn't get to go to Northern Ireland, but it was still cool to go and like see it. And
it's different, man.
It is, but I like the like style of it. Like,
it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. Like, I got called out by knife point there one night.
Really?
Like, going in between bars.
Oh.
Yeah, it was super badass. I did a
or was it like Temple Bar?
Go ahead and finish your story first.
But. Oh, I didn't really have a story. It was just like all the people were really nice, and like, so I was at McGregor's gym, like that's where we were training and stuff, and
SBG or SBG,
yeah,
something like that.
SBG.
Yeah.
And John Kavanaugh, who I know, he was like super welcoming. He's like, anything you guys need, come use the gym anytime.
Oh, that's awesome.
And my buddy Richie Smolin, who fights for Bellator, is out of that gym. So the hospitality was insane. Like, I wish I could say I would do the same. But I mean, Richie would literally be like, all right, let me know your schedule tomorrow. This is how we do things here. And like, he would be waiting out in front of the hotel. And I was like, dude, you're not our chauffeur or anything. Like, you don't have to do this. And he's like, I know. And I even like left money in his like cup holder and glove box once, and he ran back in the hotel and gave it to me. And like, I'm not taking your fucking money.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, you got to take something. Like, let me buy you, like, we were trying to buy him like shoes and clothes, like, because one day we went shopping, and he's like, I'll take you. I'm like, let us buy you something. He's like, no, absolutely not. But just every single day was literally like.
There's something about some of those older school cultures. Like, sometimes it's almost like, I guess it's a sign of respect that they don't want to take anything from you. It's like, it's a way to honor whoever you're with, like that you genuinely care about them. Because I've had the same thing happen to me where I've like tried to slip $100 to a bartender. And he's like, no, fuck you. You know, like, you guys are fucking great. You're welcome back anytime, you know, like.
And you feel
this
bad
one's
almost.
on me. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, like.
So I was like, man, if you ever come to the US, like, I'm going to have to like clear my schedule and make sure that I like take you everywhere, do whatever. He ended up going to Long Island to Weidman's gym for a couple weeks. So luckily I used to go do camps out there. So I talked to all of them and like got him set up. So I felt a little bit better, but yeah, like the hospitality was nuts. Even like after her fight, one of the jiu-jitsu coaches, this guy Gustavo at the gym, he's like, oh, I'm the head of security at this place. He had a table for us, everything. Like, I tried tipping him. He's like, get your money out of my fucking face. And he's like big ass Brazilian guy.
Really?
I'm like, well, let me give you something. He's like, nah.
Yeah.
It was just like really cool. Like, all the people were cool. And then they actually took us through. So I got to see like Dublin, the nice part of Dublin. And then one of the kids from the gym was from like where the crime family lives out there. He's like, you want to see like the other side of Dublin?
I think it's South Dublin, right? Like,
I don't know if it was south or what. It was like, they called it the Flats. And he's like, you can come through with me. And he grew up there, you know, like that's where he lives. And literally walking through, he knew everybody. Have you ever seen The Wire?
yes.
It felt like walking in that like complex. Because even Richie, the guy with us, is friends with him. And he was like, can I park my car here? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'll make sure it's good. And you could see him like look up, because like the Flats, it was like 3 stories or something. He'd look up and like,
It's like that
basically
scene from
like
Training Day going into Watts.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, your car will be fine. But Richie was like, yeah, if if I'm not with him, like they'll take the wheels, everything off my car. Like it's like a
Wow.
local, just tight community.
Yeah,
So he walked us through there and was showing us around, and
that's super rad.
so I got to see like all different parts, which is cool.
I had a buddy when I lived in LA that I worked with that lived in Watts, and I had to drive him home a couple times, and it was kind of a similar situation where you go through a certain part of the neighborhood and you end up like on these streets, and it was just like everybody on their porch is just fucking glaring at you.
Yeah,
you
they know who's coming
and
in
then
and
they
out.
see Chewy get out and they're like, okay, he's cool, like
Yeah, and normally like I don't care. I'm like,
yeah,
what do we do? Get jumped or whatever? But then I'm like with Whitney and everything, and I'm like, how bad is this? And
a
he's like,
supermodel.
yeah, he's like, don't worry, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And like his whole family was from there. They all, like, his parents lived in there or do live in there, everything. So he knew everybody since he was like a baby.
Wow.
So he's just walking around waving to people like, hey, what's up?
It's so awesome when you meet locals like that. And that's actually what I was telling Bert earlier. I was like, hey, I'm a local. I grew up here. If you guys want to go check some shit out, let's go check some shit out.
Yeah.
But yeah, my experience in Ireland, my first experience in Ireland, I've had a lot, dude. Like, I'm so fortunate, like being able to travel with rock bands. And then some of the bands that I did like later on in my career, I had like multiple days off, like in a city. So I would really get to go experience. Like,
yeah.
I think I have a Jameson bottle at home that has like my name printed on it. It says Marshall instead of Jameson, which is
that's
cool. And like touring the factories and going to like the Guinness factory and like just all these different little like whiskey distilleries. Like the next time you're there, you got to go to Terrell O'Connell.
Terrell O'Connell.
Yeah, there's a cool backstory behind it. It's a great Irish whiskey. If you can find it here in the States, it's like $50 a bottle, and it's fucking superb.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good.
I'm gonna have to look for that. I like Irish whiskey.
Oh yeah, me too. But anyways, we went to Northern Ireland for the first time. We were in Belfast, and we were rehearsing there. So it was like we were there for, I think, like 10 days or something. And it was either Rihanna or Kanye I was with. So I was with my boys. And I'd been through Northern Ireland a couple times, but it was just like a show in and out. Like nobody ever rehearses there, but I think Kanye was crazy enough to be like, let's rehearse here. It's cheap or whatever, right? So we're there and we're letting loose at night, because it was kind of like a day gig. Like you get all your shit set up. The rehearsals are during the day, and then you're not really, like you're out by 8, 9 o'clock. So we were out. Let's go, young. Let's go party.
Right.
So the first bar that we go to is like the oldest bar in Ireland. I think it was called the King's Tavern or some shit like that. And we walked in, and it was 3 California kids and a Colorado kid, right? And we sit down at the bar. We're like, yo, we'll take some Irish car bombs.
Oh yeah.
And the place was just like totally silent.
Like
and it was
scratch.
So the guy was just like, oh, what the fuck did you just say? Like that. And it was this younger guy behind
He's like,
the
which
bar.
one's your car?
And then here comes the guy's dad out of the back, and the grandfather. Like it was a family-owned like bar. Like everybody in the family like was the bartenders, right? And they're like, "You're not from around here, are you?" And they're like,
Clearly
what are
not.
you asking for? And I was like, "No, dude, we're from like wherever, just young, ignorant." Like, and I didn't even really know the history between
IRA
the Protestants and the Catholics and like that whole thing. And apparently where this bar is at, there's a wall, right? And it's the most bombed bar in Ireland too, that we went in and asked for fucking car bombs.
They're like, fuck
Yeah. So it didn't go over that well, but they were polite enough to explain it to us because they knew that we were a bunch of fucking idiots, right? And it was crazy in the bar. The most amount of seats, there was 4 of us. The most amount that they would let you congregate is in groups of 3. So they had dividers, like these blinders at the bar.
you. Really?
And then every booth was completely boxed off. It was like a private box that the waiters were like going in and out of.
This must be for like business, like
Just so you
crime
can't
shit.
start shit, right?
Yeah.
With other patrons that are in there. Because like,
So that he was telling me, Richie was saying like Belfast is like Ireland.
yeah.
And he was telling us all about like it was cool because, lived there his whole life. Like his entire family, like generation after generation was from there. And he was telling us about, the IRA and all these things that I actually didn't know a lot about either. So he was super caught up on it. And he was telling me how his uncle was actually one of the like high ups of the old IRA. And he was like, he was the first one convicted to life in prison. And then he was one of the first one they let out when the IRA made a deal with the government to like cease fire. his uncle actually got out of prison and is out. But he was like, there's the old Ireland, and then there's like younger version that don't have the same kind of,
Yeah.
because they were like freedom fighters essentially in the old days. And then he said it kind of, and I could be butchering this, so if you
Well, that other side of Northern Ireland is what I experienced, because we were politely asked to leave the bar after they served us a beer.
hey, at least they give you a little hospitality.
Like, if you want to party, go to the nightclub. There's a difference between bars and nightclubs here. They're like, imagine the bar, Sonny, like a library. Shut the fuck up and drink your drink. Like, nobody talks in there.
Yeah.
Like, you walk into these bars and you could hear a pin drop. Literally, like, people are in there to have a drink, relax, reflect, read a book. It's like a coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then, but the nightclubs are the exact opposite, dude. It is like full on young kids getting completely hammered. So we go to this nightclub and the bartender's like, oh yeah, well, my friend told me that you guys were coming through or whatever. And he's like, you guys want to get fucked up tonight? And we're like, yeah, let's go, like whatever. And he's all, have you ever tried absinthe? We had no idea, right? This was fucking a long time ago. So we start drinking this shit and it was a wild night, but we ended up getting chased out of the bar by some anti-freedom people that were in the bar, and they were these young kids and they were hammered and fucking had knives and shit and were like threatening to kill us basically.
You're like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, we're like, we're good, we'll leave now.
I think my mom's calling.
Then we went back the next night.
I didn't pay the meter. Yeah. It was cool though, like Ireland, like great food, everything. Because we were in London right before that, a month or so before that. London's not my favorite. I've probably been, 5 times now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
There's only one cool thing that I got to experience there. Like, I've been there a bunch. The Indian food there. Did you have Indian food while you were there?
I did, yeah.
It's fucking the bomb, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good. But like, yeah, I got so sick of going to London with all these bands and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I just didn't.
It doesn't feel like there's
my
as much
thing.
culture there. It's expensive. I don't know. Like the food I had everywhere was not that great.
No.
But Ireland,
Like get the fuck out of here with your runny ketchup. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and
give me some real shit. dude.
your overcooked steaks and yeah, they would only do medium or above on like steaks and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
These
didn't
were
know
we
that was a
were
thing. Dude, you know where I ate the whole time that we always stayed in London? I would go to Whole Foods.
really.
Like,
I didn't
yeah.
even see Whole Foods.
Yeah, there's a Whole Foods like not far from like, I forget where we would stay at all the time. It wasn't far from the Royal Albert Hall. That was a kind of a cool spot to go into. If you've never seen a concert there or anything, that's a super dope venue, man. It's
I don't think I've ever been to an international concert.
really.
I've been to like UFC events, obviously, and
Yeah.
fought on them and stuff, and that's cool. Like Brazil and Sweden and all
That
over the
is
place,
awesome,
but
man.
never like a concert or anything. Never as a fan, which I think would be a whole different experience.
Yeah.
I want to go to
totally
like
is.
a soccer game or like a rugby game in one of those countries.
That
and
shit is wild too, man. Like,
yeah,
I've been to a couple soccer games over there. I've been through a city like right after a soccer game where I've just seen hooligans just literally destroy it in like riot trucks and police, dude. Like they're next level. You think Raiders fans are bad, dude? Like
Yeah.
that is completely the next level of fucking
yeah.
craziness.
When I was in Sweden, I was in Stockholm, staying in. They called it Old Town Stockholm. So it's really cool area because it's like
Yeah.
some of the buildings are from like the Vikings and stuff.
so sick.
Cobblestone Road. And I was there fighting in the UFC, and my coaches and team and I, we went through like Old Town. We were like shopping, buying gifts and stuff for people. And we noticed like the bars were pretty rowdy, and none of us follow soccer or anything. And we're coming down this street, going back to the hotel, and there's like a line of police, and they're like, "Who are you with?" And I was like, "Just these guys." And
Just
the cop goes, "You're American?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Go ahead." And like told me go past him, and I was like, "Well, hold on a second. Why should I not go there? Like, you guys are lined up here." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Am I walking into some horrible shit?" And he's like, "Football match, mate." Like, and they were keeping the Dutch separate because I guess it was like semifinals.
They'll literally kill each other, dude.
It was the Dutch and Sweden. And I was like, "Are you sure it's cool?" And he's like, "You'll be fine." So Yeah, I'm with 2 other UFC fighters, everything, and we're like, but why are you here? Why are you blocking this off? So we end up going, and we get to the end of the alley, and then on the other side there's 2 bars, and it was all people in the Dutch like soccer shirts, and they're just rowdy as fuck. And we don't look, I think you can tell like the logos on our shirts, everything are different.
At all.
But I mean, we were able to just like walk through, but it was crazy because like the cops were in like riot gear and stuff. And then when he was like, go ahead, I was like, no, actually, I don't know if I want to. What's another way to go? Like, this doesn't make sense. What if I told you I was with somebody?
Yeah, I've never been in the middle of it, but I've been in some crazy shit. Like,
yeah, because behind us was all
South
the, like,
America
Swedish
gets
people.
fucking wild too, dude. Like,
Oh, yeah.
over there, soccer and Brazil and some of those spots is fucking insane. Argentina, the craziest thing I've ever experienced concert wise was AC/DC there.
I
In
bet.
Argentina, it was fucking epic. It was so badass.
I can only imagine, yeah.
And
Like,
they were old dudes. Like we're talking like borderline geriatric.
They were
And
there when the
still put
album
on a
came
show.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the band?
The band, yeah.
Yeah.
And that city still went off. Like devil horns, topless chicks. Like it was fucking epic, dude. Huge stadium, climbing shit. Like they shouldn't have been on like at the top of the stadium and jumping. I'm sure people died.
Yeah.
They had to have.
Oh.
Or broken backs or some shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
these people were climbing fucking light poles and this is outside the venue. This isn't even in the concert while it's happening, man. Like
They didn't get in. They're just like, they're like tailgating.
it was cool. I went down to Miami and recorded with a really good friend of mine that we've done a lot of rock and roll stuff together, but I recorded with him and he's done some epic shit. He was a rigger on that show, and he's done like gigs at like he's done Red Hot Chili Peppers like at the pyramids in Egypt and like just
Oh, man.
fucking just some epic stuff. He's had a pretty badass career.
I bet he's got some stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I fought in Brazil, because I fought down there a few times, it's crazy, right?
that's wild, huh?
Because they're so nationalistic too. And of course, every time I was flown there, for the UFC, it was
I'm sure you're fighting
me
a
versus a
Brazilian.
Brazilian.
Yeah.
Luckily, like one of my coaches through those was Brazilian, like lived in Rio, but he used to come here for training camps for me and stuff. And so he was pretty well known there. Like his brother is like a really famous jiu-jitsu guy, one of like their most famous guys. Daniel Marias is his name. And then Diego was my coach, his younger brother. So when I went there, he was like, I got you. Like you come with me, keep your wallet away. Don't bring anything out. We'll settle up after. And he just showed me like the whole hustle of everything. Like if you're American or
It's
whatever.
crazy, dude.
'Cause-
I met some really cool people down there too at one point.
Yeah, it was wild watching because like I'd be going through. I always went like shopping and stuff with the team. Like you're cutting weight and everything. Well, what else are you gonna do besides sit in the hotel room?
Right.
So he would go with us and he would just start screaming at people in Portuguese. I am Brazilian, like give me Brazilian price, not white price and all this stuff. Because I found out until we met up with him, I was paying like triple for everything.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then he's like, "This is my,"
Which isn't that much in U.S. dollars, so you're like, oh, that's a good deal, right?
Yeah, and there was tons of times where I'm like, "What'd they say?" He's like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Like, luckily I don't speak the language, but it seemed real angry on like certain things. And
Were you guys in Sao Paulo or where?
Rio,
Rio.
and then I fought in it's called Jaraguá do Sul.
Okay, I don't think I've ever been there.
I bet
Yeah.
you haven't. And my coach, when I signed that fight, he was like, "Where the fuck is that?" I was like, "You're Brazilian,"
Yeah.
and he goes, "Never heard of it," and like looked it up, and he was like, "Oh wow!" Like I flew in on a dirt runway, everything like
Holy
the whole
shit.
card on all the guys fighting each other on one plane.
This was a UFC fight?
Yeah, there's one plane in, one plane out.
What kind of security do they have for you guys when you like travel like that? Is it?
They have a decent amount.
Yeah.
Depends on what you do. Like you gotta let them know what you're gonna do. So when I was in Rio, I partnered with like an orphanage, right? So I went and did a seminar, but it was in the favelas. Like, have you ever seen City of God
Oh yeah.
and stuff? So
I've been in the.
I went in there and I told the UFC about it. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this seminar and stuff," and they're like, "Well, hold on, let us like coordinate this." And it actually ended up cooler for the orphanage because it wasn't just me going. Then it was Shogun, Jose Aldo,
No way.
me, Weidman. So that was where I first met Weidman.
That's so cool.
who else? Machida was there. So the UFC got all these guys to come do it. But at the hotel leaving, the chief of police met us and everything. And these guys are like swatted out, everything. They're all carrying AKs and stuff. And they have like armored vehicles.
That's like the federal police there, right? Like they're not. It's not even.
They don't have the same laws at all.
Yeah.
Like
no.
they'll shoot.
Yeah.
And the VP for the UFC was with me, Reed Harris, and he asked the police chief. He's like, "Hey, like how safe is it where we're going?" And then the police chief, he's like, "Oh, it's safe. It's safe." He's like, "A few months ago, we kicked down all the doors," and he's like, "We killed all the drug dealers and stuff. Like they went through and like mass murdered these people."
Wow.
I found this out later.
It's not funny, but it's
Yeah.
crazy, dude.
Well, come to find out, like the orphanage we went to, half those kids were orphaned because their parents were like drug dealers and stuff in the favelas. So they were
Holy
killed
shit.
by the police. And the police ended up taking us in like armored cars and everything. They pull up and like these, all their guys.
Dude,
get
we
out.
are so fortunate in the U.S. Like, I think that's the biggest thing I've realized traveling, and maybe you too. Like, just our freedoms and what we have, and the freedom to buy, and
even to talk back.
yeah, or even the price of things it's moderately. I mean, I know shit's expensive, and like, yes, there's other countries that are super cheap, but also it comes with an inherent risk.
Yeah.
Right? There's a risk that comes with the price of what you're paying. Like when you go down into Mexico and you're fucking buying, 10-cent beers, there's a reason why you're buying 10 cents beers.
Yeah,
You know what I
'cause
mean? Because the
nobody's going
cartel
there.
could roll through and cut your head off at one point, like
Yeah.
that is a issue. It could happen.
Yeah. So it was a cool experience because I feel like Weidman and I were like, I'm sure not the only for sure, but very few Americans or white people have probably gone in there because it was like in the heart of it.
Yeah.
And it was this big stone structure that looked like a fortress, like a prison. And that was the orphanage. And it was like a sports complex for kids that were orphans. And they got given like gis for jiu-jitsu and all this cool stuff. So we got to like spend the day hanging out with all these kids and like doing this fun stuff. And then leaving, like, yeah, we came in and out in like armored vehicles. They had people out front while we were there. So it was probably good because if I didn't tell the UFC, I was just going to go do it. And like,
Right.
am I getting an Uber? I'll be there soon. Yeah. Can I take an Uber there? Yeah, because, it's the same kind of thing. Like you come through and everybody's looking. People are out. And these are like tin shacks and stuff. Like they're not even, half of them aren't real houses. They're
Oh,
like,
no. Some of them don't even have running water. And it's just like
I said, it was the favela from City of God.
yeah.
So, yeah, as you're going through, and we're going through in SUVs, all these people, kids, babies, everything are out, like, looking like, what is going on? Just boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
And then you get in, and they're like, go, go, go. Like,
Yeah.
get in the building.
Yeah, I've had some experiences like that with rock bands where not so much like they don't go into the favelas and do like a charity event, but like just dealing with some of the security and like some of the things like there's been certain times where I've had like a sawed-off shotgun like on my forehead basically.
Yeah.
Like going to get a cup of coffee. It was like, whoa, I'm still trying to wake up. Like, what the fuck did I do? And you just happen to be the closest thing to something going down. So
yeah. So I've been on the security team for, like, bands and stuff like that before, too. And it's always, like, there's way more that goes into it than people realize, like you do the advances and stuff. Like the security guys will do the advance. They'll drive the routes. They'll have alternative routes, this, that. And, like, there's a ton. Like, I've worked stadiums and then, like, shitty places,
so
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, the idea behind it is if you plan well enough, there's no problems. And then there's always, because I've been the driver, I've been the passenger guy holding the gun, you get out and it's like, but then, yeah, you have alternative routes, different exits. And, like, we used to have to memorize the doors, all those. Like,
Oh, you got to
like,
remember like that. I always worked hand in hand with the security detail because I was the stage manager. So it's just even the venue that you're in, there's a certain walk, right? Even at the UFC, you have to go down a certain VOM. You have to turn a certain way. There needs to be security detail set up so people aren't, even if they have access, the popcorn guy could be a fucking serial killer. You don't know. You know what I mean? Like
the security levels of different
Yeah.
people are crazy because,
Yeah.
like, you're like,
oh, it comes down to like those badges that you wear have like holograms and fucking chips in them now and all kinds of crazy shit to recognize like legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, are you a crew person or are you a threat, you know, like.
I know. I've worked events in real big stadiums. I won't say which ones. I don't want to sell it out, but where you're not supposed to carry. And, like, the team I work with, they're like, no chance we're not carrying. Like, that's literally why we're here. And so the boss was like, listen, every metal detector you come around, just fucking walk around it. Don't even look back. Just keep walking like you know where you're going.
That's what scares me is, like, I know firsthand that I could probably walk into any event that I wanted to backstage. Maybe it's because I look the part. Maybe it's because I always wear black.
It's how you act.
Know. It's literally your confidence. Like, these people that they pay to do, like, the upfront security, the people that you meet in the yellow jackets.
Yeah, they're making $7, $8 an hour,
dude.
and they're like side job. You'd be surprised. Probably shouldn't even say that.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many places you can walk in. If you don't look at anybody and you just walk past, you're dressed nice, you walk around, and they're like, hey, and you just keep walking, like, in a hurry, like you know where you're going. Yeah. How many of them will be like, oh, he must work here?
Oh, yeah. It's about having, like, that presence.
Because we used to do that all the time. Like, don't go through the metal detector. We're not supposed to carry here.
Right.
And literally, like, the line would be here. You just cut between the security guy and the metal detector.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. It happened to us the other night at BKFC, and maybe I shouldn't even be calling this out, but I'm rolling with some fucking savages. I was probably the least savage in the group of guys that I was with going to watch your fight.
Yeah.
And they're like, they hit me up because I don't think any of those guys had been to an event or to a BKFC, and I went to the previous one. They're like, are there metal detectors? And I was like, yeah, the last time I went in, they had metal detectors and stuff. I don't know with the table that we got if we're going to have to go through them or whatnot. And they're like, shit, now they had to go to the truck and dump some shit, right? So we wait, and then, of course, we walk in, and they just waved us through. We didn't even have to go through the metal detectors because of who I was with. They were just like, yeah, you're good. Here's your wristbands. Like, no questions asked. No, like, scan a ticket, nothing.
It's funny. I did the same thing because I showed up. I wasn't late, but I was later than I was supposed to be. And in the back, they even run the, like, fighters and stuff through the metal detector. And I told my brother, he was with me. I was like, just follow me. So we walk in the door, metal detector and guards there. There was no line. There was nobody there. And I just passed through the middle. I didn't even go through the metal detector. They looked through your bag. Like, I had nothing in there.
Yeah.
But they were going to make me, like, empty everything. And I'm like, I'm running late. Like, so sure enough, just walk between, didn't say a word. Yeah, there was 3 people in that area.
If you have the confidence, we probably shouldn't be telling everybody.
I know. And I'm like, I have my backpack, you know, it looks like I have a bunch of shit, but I also was in, like, a sweatsuit and everything. I think I had already had my badge, but I just, instead of going through where they checked all the fighters, I just walked to the side.
They're probably stunned at how handsome you were.
Yeah, totally. I was like, hey guys. But yeah, just walk between. And I heard, like, you're good in the back. I was like, I know. Yeah. Because I already knew where I was going anyway, so I walked through the door. And it is funny. Like, it's scary, too, at the same time. Like,
no, it is.
You just act like you know where you're going.
And we've actually had security problems, like, with some of the bands. Like, especially when you start working for a diva, that's where it becomes a real problem. Because there are literal, like, sociopaths out there that want to, I don't know, whatever they want to do. Just get close to them or whatever.
Yeah. And when you're crazy enough.
Dude, I've had people, like, when I worked for Rihanna, we had all these moving parts on the stage, right? Like, it was a huge production. And I was, like, one of her main operators for all these hydraulic equipment. Like, we had, like, 30-foot round, like, turntables that would spin while she was on it with a piano, and it would lift up and down at the same time. And all the bells.
Logistical nightmare.
Right? Yeah. And there's a guy on a headset, like, calling the show. You're on a headset, like, radios, like, you have to be at certain spots. There's wardrobe changes. Total rehearse show, right? Like, that's what it is when you get to, like, a Taylor Swift or a Madonna. It's an entirely rehearsed show. You're going to be amazed. Like, there's magician shit type going on where we have, like, trolley systems underneath the stage where, like, you throw her on a skateboard and you guys are rolling down, like, underneath the stage to get to another part where she's going to pop up. And then she flies away on a fucking rigging thing and you have to meet her down below. And, like, so it's pretty wild. Like, I was dead at the end of the shows, dude. Like, just covered in sweat. Would change.
The workers are the ones running everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
To make it happen.
Yeah. And they work there. The artists do too, man. Like, Rihanna was so badass, man. She worked her ass off during that show, you know, but We had all kinds of bullshit, like fucking a 3/4 scale, like hot pink tank and that shot like fucking smoke rings or some that
Like,
were
sick.
hard.
This is going to be 2 seconds. Do you mind if we take a quick break?
No,
Okay,
let's
runs
take a
down.
break anyways. Yeah. All right, so we're back.
Yeah,
I was
we're-
talking about Rihanna. So that the stage was crazy, but I had one deal where I was running a lift for her to go up, and all of a sudden I just saw this leg come shooting through, and I almost cut it off. And it's not like a thing that you can just emergency stop, shut off. So I like slowed it down. I pinched this leg in it. It was one of the security guards because we had like a stage jumper jump on stage. So they came from like all angles, and these dudes are all from like the special operations community or whatever. Like these were some bad motherfuckers that worked for her.
Oh, yeah.
At one point, like I would purposely try to sabotage them, like during the day after we would get done loading in, like be hiding down a hallway and try to jump out and wrestle them, and they would like make me blind in a couple minutes through like pressure points and just.
I think I know a
I
few
mean,
of them actually because I got offered to
exactly.
work for her before.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I know like a group of the guys that do work
Do
for
you
her.
know Steve Sullivan?
It sounds
Big
familiar.
Irish cat, former Marine. Like he was like the head of security for Warped Tour for like fucking 25 years. Or
I
some
might.
shit.
Yeah, that's not who I'm thinking of, but I might.
He reminds me of Walter from Big Lebowski. Like he's.
It's kind of a small community too. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised.
I'm sure we know some of the same people.
But
yeah.
yeah, the divas.
Yeah, the divas.
That was the thing that I'd run
Are
into
you still
sometimes.
doing any of that, or is it?
I do it on and off.
Yeah,
I don't.
if
not
the money's
full-time.
right.
Yeah, money, time. You know, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. Depends on who it is. But the full-time guys, man, ton of respect because being a full-time like EP, bodyguard, whatever you want to call it, is you don't live your own life. If they say get up and go, or like, you know, some of these people have more money than they know what to do with. So if you're full-time, say for, I don't know, whoever, and they're like, let's go to France. You're like, when? Now.
No,
Like,
you have to leave your bags packed.
yeah.
Especially like some of the contracts that I signed with artists as a stage manager. Like if they decide like, okay, we're in Abu Dhabi, but we're gonna go do Good Morning America. Guess what?
Yeah.
You're getting on a fucking some sort of private jet, and you're not going to be able to sleep because you have the worst seat. You might not even have a seat. You might be laying in the aisle.
That's if you get to fly private too. Some
Yeah.
of them will not do that.
Oh no.
You will fly commercial, be there before me,
Yeah.
be there to pick me up. So like fly commercial, get the SUV
Yeah,
in
the
the town,
security for sure.
get to the private airport, pick them up, have all their shit, make sure like you're like a babysitter, you know?
Oh, 100%.
So the full time I never do. Like I've been fortunate enough, like the jobs that I do, I'm like, I don't really need the money. So like if anybody's too bad, I'm like, you know what, fuck you. Like I'm out. I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
I've never done that, but because you know that also word gets around. It's a small community, so like if you get booted, you're not probably getting hired at most places. And
Yeah, it depends. I mean, there's a
That's-
bunch of shit bags out there too. Like it's all aspects.
there's people in those industries that are recognized as being really difficult to work with. So if
Yeah.
you got a flag against one of them, it's
And it's crazy, like some of the ones that you expect that would be really bad. Like I worked for Lil Wayne for a long time during like the Carter albums. And he was one of the better artists and one of the most likable people I worked for the entire time. Now, the rest of his entourage, I would have liked to whoop all of their asses back when Drake was just like a little kid and everything because they were always in the way. They were always a pain in the ass. They were... It was fucking sucked.
most of what I've run into is the worst people to deal with are not the stars, but the friends.
Yes.
Because they
That's
have
what was going on.
because they have a giant sense of entitlement. And when I was hired, like, I don't work for you. I work for him or her. Like, I understand you're the friend, so you get, like, some respect. But, like, if they're like, hey, go get me this, you're like, there's times, like, I won't even acknowledge you. Like, I don't
Yeah.
fucking work for you. Like, who are you? You know, those, I would say almost every time. There's been some stars.
That's
like
the problem with being like personal protection is you're expected, you almost
they treat you
fall
like a
into
bitch
like
sometimes.
an assistant role. Like, oh, I need more ice for my drink or whatever. I'm sorry, Gabby.
He just asked you for ice.
But I don't know. That's not what your job is there for. You know what I mean? Like, but I loved it because my buddy Sully would embrace it. Like he was Gaga's personal protection for a long time, like Billie Eilish, Rihanna. Like he did all these super divas, right? But I would see him like rolling. He's like this 300-pound Irish dude with tattooed neck, like just a scary individual, right? And you would see him rolling through an airport. Like I was working for a different band at the time, but he would be holding Gaga's purse just like this. You know?
It's like sparkly. Like, he'd hold it like this so everybody knew it wasn't his.
Proud to be fucking carrying that shit too, you know, and walking a fucking Pomeranian or some bullshit, you know what I mean? But
I'm lucky enough, like it's not a ton, but when I do, like the team of guys that I work for, the boss is very understanding. Like he's done it his whole life, does it full time, and he would always tell us like, listen, this person's tough to deal with, this person's not, kind of thing. And like, but he would always say like, you're nobody's bitch, right? Like your one job, like you're the one here carrying a gun, you're the one here, like security is your main job. I don't give a fuck if they ask you to hold their bag. I don't care if it's the main person we're working for asks you to carry it. If you are not able to do your job and carry that bag, tell them no. He's like, if they have a problem with it, because he was always, there, I'll deal with it. Put it on me. And he had a very direct way, because he's been around like tons of celebrities. He had a very direct way of being like, listen, he works for me. I told him to do this. Like he would take the fall, and it was like a good boss.
that's a good boss.
I wish I could name him, but like you can't. And but so like having people that have your back, that goes with any job,
I think that's the majority of the people that I've worked with in that industry. It's literally, it's like the Pirates Code, man. Like they all have your back, but it's kind of,
some don't. I mean, there's been times I've worked for other companies and like you get yelled at, and
really,
it's granted, like you get yelled at pretty much. That's part of the job,
right?
Because you've been backstage, and whether it's concert or actors or whatever, everything's in a rush, and like tension runs high.
Yeah,
they're never on time.
Well,
you've
when
never
there's
met
30,000 people standing out there screaming, like it's.
Yeah, I bet you've never worked with a celebrity that was literally on time or early, always late.
Very few. You know what's
else.
funny? Lil Wayne was one of those.
Really?
His bus rolled in. He never was at the venue until it was showtime. He came in like Elvis. His bus rolled in. He got off the bus. He was always on time. Fucking walked on. We had like 12 strippers on the stage. Like the cues were like, we started the show with, I think, like 7 or 8 concussion grenades, which was fucking awesome from a pyro standpoint.
Yeah.
Like it was a very,
not to the people in the front.
Yeah. It was a very rock and roll like show entrance, and it was just fun as a crew guy. Like the workload wasn't that high. He was super cool. And then the show would end, he'd high five everybody and thank you so much. Thank you. He would call me sir. I was like, dude, stop calling me sir. I've done 100 of your shows now. Like just
You learn my name.
Here's my name.
It's been 100 shows.
Yeah. But I think it's like that Southern hospitality type thing. Like he knew my name, but
yeah, there've been,
and get him on his bus, and the bus would pull out, and then I'd have to deal with Drake and all the other little fucking 2 Chainz and all these other people that are huge rappers now, that I'm sure have their own entourages. But they were like 16-year-old kids when I was working for Wayne. Like they were a fucking pain in the ass. Like, get your loaded gun and get it off stage, dude. You just accidentally set one off in your sweats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
not cool.
It's a wildlife for sure. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I fight people for a living too, so I don't take yelled at, and I take direction well.
Yeah.
If I respect you, but the whole like customer service kind of thing, which is essentially what that is. It's like high-end customer service.
Yeah.
I've worked for people that are like, we want you to shut down this store so I can shop. And I mean, we're talking Louis Vuitton or something in Aspen. Like, what time? They're like, an hour from now. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take care of it. And like, you're literally
give me
calling,
your credit
like,
card.
Hey, listen. No, I mean, the people that I'm talking about, luckily it was easy enough because they're like done. But then you get the people that don't know where they are on the like celebrity status, the lower level ones, and you're like, I'm not gonna be able to pull that one off, boss. Like,
sorry.
Yeah, I'll take care of that, and then you don't. But
yeah, no, I get it. I've been there too. It's
know your audience, know your level.
Yeah,
it's the people that get like they think they're a superstar and they're not. maybe they will be one day, but they're not.
I've quit tours because I've been disrespected. Like, that's one thing I don't take personally is like, if you're going to purposely disrespect me or treat me like a dog or a piece of shit, then I don't want to work for you. And like one of them was I won't name any names, but one of them was my mom's favorite band of all time. So like when I called her and I was like, you'll never believe who I'm, like, I finally made it, Mom, you know, like it was that band that I had to I quit like a week later.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time they would I said I quit. They said they fired me, but whatever.
Semantics right there, right? I always quit first. I'll quit the job before I'm fired.
Yeah. Well, they were calling me like, "Where are you? It's loadout." I was like, "I'm gone. I'm on a plane, dude. I'm at the airport. Fuck you."
Yeah. Well, there you go. You quit. If they called to see where you were at, you didn't get fired.
Yeah. They're like, "We thought we could just talk to you that way." I was like, "No."
It is funny when I think about like a lot of things where to me they're not like big, but when I actually like think back, like even just these stories and everything, I'm like, man, I've had like a pretty cool like wild life.
Yeah, you have.
And I'm just getting started, I feel like.
Yeah,
Same
I know.
with you. Like you could probably write a
How
book
old
when
are
you're
you now,
done.
Chris?
36.
Yeah, see, I'm 44, so I got a few years on you, but like, dude, I feel like 40 is like I feel like this is a new chapter in my life, like especially podcasting, like getting to genuinely know people like you and Scott Parker, like people that I might have interactions in some of the circles that I run in, but like I don't ever really get to like spend time with them. Like I was more excited about you coming up today and recording, you know, just because it's a moment where I actually get to hang out with you than going to your after party, because I know this might sound selfish, but I get to, it's just me and Chris talking. Like,
yeah, I mean, I halfway hate the after parties. Not because like I love Tom's Watch Bar.
Dude, I had a blast.
They're
there.
the
Keep
best.
doing them.
Yeah, like I go and like I love all the people that come out. It's just like it's going to like, well, you're married, so like it's like a wedding.
Yeah.
At your wedding, everybody there loves you and was there for you, but the reception was you going person to person, and you never actually got to just like, did you even get to have a good time really?
Actually, we did, because me and my wife had 2 children before we actually tied the knot legally. So we did it just me and her in front of a judge in Fort Collins of all fucking places. But there was like a tie to my grandparents, and like it's a long family history that I don't even need to go down. But long story short, we did it in a traditional way that my grandparents did a long time ago, and they've been married over 60 years now.
Yeah, that's
Super
amazing.
rad,
Shout
right?
out to them.
Yeah.
That's not common.
So we got married like in the same place from the same courthouse, the same way that they did. They were in high school. They weren't supposed to be like married. They lived apart for a year before they were even told their parents.
Oh, wow.
And they were married, right?
Oh,
Like,
and they were married.
So it was like a secretive like thing, because it was frowned upon in like the 50s, right?
Yeah.
And this all happened right here in Evergreen too, which is fucking wild too. Like,
oh, wow.
So anyways, me and my wife did that. And then we always knew, I didn't really care about the ceremony, but she broke it down to me. She was like, we should have one for our family. Like, where should we do it? And we actually did it at the lake house here in Evergreen. And we only invited family members, and I invited 2 of my buddies, like, and that was it. And it was awesome. So we each had like 80 people on each side. So we really did get to like see everybody, talk to everybody.
Did you hear that?
That's a lot of it.
I'm like, you only invited family and a few buddies, and it was 80 people each, so 160 people.
I have 80 family members that I could probably call right now that live in Colorado, in this immediate area.
Married, 100 cap done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Both
Maybe
sides.
it was 80 total. It might have been 40 and 40.
That makes more sense.
Because we didn't even invite like distant cousins. Like I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. Don't take offense to this, but like,
I was like, how many
if
siblings do
we
you
invited
have?
my
14?
whole family, like from both sides, like there's a bunch of fucking mutts up here, dude. Like
My family's small.
and they get down too. Like they're ranch people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I have 3 first cousins on both sides
Yeah.
of my family combined. So mine's small.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you were like 80 each. I was
Even
like,
our parents.
I looked over and you like leaned outside
I'm
the screen.
Italian and we have big families, and I was still like,
Yeah.
what?
I know, I'm Italian and
Me
we
too.
don't even have like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it was funny that like our parents were coming to us and they're like, can I invite our friends? And we were like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Because we didn't even invite our third cousins or whatever it was, whatever it was, you know.
But that's how I feel about the after parties a little bit. Like, I want to go by and tell everybody, thank you for coming.
Well, maybe you
this
just
and
need
that.
to have maybe we need to rent like an Airbnb and fucking do it that way next time or something.
I know. I mean, I love Tom's. Like, they've been great to me
Yeah.
too.
But
and it's a
especially,
cool
like,
spot, and it's easy for me to just put out and be like, I'm gonna be here after. And I did put, maybe I didn't put it publicly, but I told Tom's, I was like, here's the deal. Let's have the after party, but say I get knocked out or something, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
I'm going home. Or
I was surprised you showed up, and honestly, the only reason I went was to support you because I had already had an amazing evening. You know, I was like, but when I heard that you were actually going,
yeah, you know what's
like,
the funniest part? It was so Lorenzo showed up near the
I know,
end. Yeah,
I remember that,
and
the tension rose in that room like crazy too.
but this is the fight game too, right?
Yeah.
So the tension rose for everybody else but me.
I didn't really think anything about it.
They came in, no, me either.
Yeah.
So they came and told me, they're like, hey, Lorenzo's coming. And I was like, no, that's cool. Like, I told him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were guys there that were like, what the fuck's he doing here? Like, coming and telling me. And I was like, well, I told him about this.
Well,
and
some
like,
of your old like high school buddies got heated or something.
I know.
For a minute, right? Or
one of them
like-
goes, do you want me to get him out of here? And I was like, yeah, do that. I was like, you think you could do it better than me? I'm like, bro, just fucking relax. Like, if I don't care, why do you care?
Yeah,
You know, I got to respect a little bit. Like,
they got your back.
I got to respect that a little bit. But once I tell you once, it's cool, man. Like, this
Well,
is the
that
fight.
toast that you did was so perfect, man. Like, it was super cool. I was pretty 3 sheets to the wind at that point, but
I
I
can even
remember
say it
the
again.
toast that you said at the end of the night. That was awesome, man. He was there with his whole crew. Everybody was cool. Nobody had a fucking problem. Like,
I remember what I said too. So
Yeah.
here's what I said, because I've always said this is like, so I did a toast and it was like, you know, Lorenzo was like around the corner of the bar from me. And I was like, here's a toast to the part of the fight game people don't see. Like, they think that we're all pit bulls or like caged animals and like we want to fight each other all the time. Like, you and I just fought 5 rounds and you learn something about somebody after you fight them. It is like an intimate sport, right? I don't mean intimate in like a sexual way. It's an intimate as in like you see what people are made of and like grit and overcoming adversity, and you kind of see character through like hard times. Sorry, that wasn't part of the speech, but I just said, here's the part of the sport people don't see. They all think that we're caged animals and we just want to fight each other all the time. But really, like, I got respect for you. So, like, cheers to you. Congratulations on your win. Because it is, like, I still run across that of like, longtime friends that have been to, like, tons of my fights.
well, look at some of your best friends you've had some epic battles with. And
Yeah, like, Jacoby is one of my best friends. And, like, him and I fought on UFC on Fox 2.
I'm so glad that I never had to fight you, dude, to be your friend.
Not
Pretty,
yet, no.
Not yet. Oh, shit. All right.
No, I mean,
yeah.
but like most of the people don't see the other side. Most of the MMA guys I know and like fighters are all very cool with each other
Yeah.
because there's no showboating or peacocking really. If you've already fought, we already know. Like, so granted, Lorenzo and I went to a split decision. So in my opinion, we don't know, but like we just laid it all out there. We're tired. We just fought. It's not like we're trying to go at it again at the bar. Like, oh, I thought I won because we just got paid for it. I wouldn't get paid for it at the bar.
Yeah.
I would probably get fined and arrested and like have a whole ordeal. And so would he.
What's that saying that I think you said it, and I don't remember if you said it to me or something. It was like, we were at a bar. I think it was at your last one. There was some dude starting shit. And you were like, I don't fight for free, or
Yeah.
What is that the saying?
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. I can't remember.
I say that a
Maybe
lot
it wasn't
now.
you. Maybe I was with somebody else. But
No, it was me because unfortunately, each after party I've had, there's always been like
there's some asshole
altercations
there, right?
at least. And actually, the last fight was one of the same guys.
Okay.
Him and another guy I know, they're acquaintances, came to the party and they were gonna they were in each other's faces, all this stuff. And so I went over and I was like, listen, you guys aren't fucking fighting here. was like, this place sponsors me. They pay me. Like, I won't let you fight in here.
There's plenty of alleys around here.
So I looked at both of them and I was like, but I think you guys should fight. You should go outside. I'll go out. I'll watch too. And as soon as that like happened, both of them were like, like you
Letting
gotta
the air out of the balloon.
Yeah, because they're just like, it's just fucking selling tickets to the fight, not actually doing it.
That's what it is. Yeah, I don't sell tickets to a fight that
Yeah,
I'm not getting paid for.
most people get loud. And if you think about it, like getting loud is like a defense mechanism. Some of the like people that could not fight at all, going back to like high school, middle school, everything, the loudest person usually can't.
Yeah.
That's their defense mechanism. They're going to talk so much shit and get so loud.
That's so
They're
many
like
fights.
peacocking.
Yeah.
Like, look at like blah, 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 blah. And the other person, they're hoping. Now, if the other person doesn't back down, that they don't have a plan B. That was plan A, and that was it. So as soon as I said that to both of them, because I was like, I walked up to them like in each other's faces, and I was like, but you guys should fight. Like, let's go outside. I'll watch. I'll ref. I'll make sure nobody jumps in. And then they didn't want to fight anymore. I'm like, so what happened? Like, you wanted everybody to get really loud, watch you, and you both of them were hoping the other would back down. You know, like how many times have you seen that if you think about it?
Dude, so many times. I get so fed up because I don't know if it was the way I was raised or the people I grew up around. Like, I don't want to tout myself like I was some badass or some fighter or something, but I was always kind of taught like, why they're talking shit, fucking knock them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to be thinking about the next thing to say, and they're not going to know what's hitting them. Like, and that's...
Well, there's talkers.
I won a
and there's,
majority
like,
of my fights, and I was always the guy, like, even as a kid, I was always taught to shut the fuck up and handle your business.
Yeah.
Like, don't, like, just stop crying, stop being a bitch, like, shut the fuck up and handle your business. Even as a kid, that was my mom's mentality, because she had to do that as a single mother, right? Like,
Yeah.
So that was kind of the philosophy. I guess I was expected to be a man way before kids should be expected to be men, which has
Same.
made me a better person today, hands down. Like,
Yeah.
no doubt about that. Like, I don't regret any of the way that I grew up. I'm so fortunate because it really has turned me into the person that I am today. So I never experienced it, but for how many times I've seen people just fucking blowing their mouth off and like nothing happens. It's just like, just go to Lodo.
Yeah.
On a fucking Friday night, and you'll see all the escalation and all the fucking running around, and people what's even scarier is people getting behind the wheel of their cars and trying to fucking speed off and ram somebody. Like,
Yeah.
I saw it at the last bare knuckle, not this last one, because I was smart enough this time not to go to the parking garage. But the previous fight, when you had the first round knockout, dude, I parked in that parking garage that's right there outside of First Bank, and there was cars ramming into each other and people fist fighting in the fucking parking garage.
It's
and I
the
was
liquid courage.
like, 100%. Like that, go to Lodo at midnight. You're going to see all the fucking, the peacocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a perfect example.
It's a funny thing because I almost like hate to talk about street fights and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
So growing up, I was always told like, Grant, it's not from the best source, but one of my best friends growing up had a very bad past, and then his dad also did. His dad had like gotten out of prison at one point. He'd been in and out forever, all over. And I mean, this dude was jacked. Like, he was in like super maxes and shit. Like, he had newspaper articles of like why prisoners shouldn't be allowed to lift weights. And he used to tell us, he's like, he was from the South. He'd be like, boys, I'll tell you this. He's like, the loudest motherfucker here is usually the biggest pussy.
100%.
And he was like, what he used to tell us, he's like, don't worry about the guy in the front. This is when we were in like just out of high school. He's like, don't worry about the guy in the front talking all this shit. Worry about the guy in the back not saying shit and just standing there kind of like nodding. He's like, that's the guy that'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
And it was actually a quote from him. He'd always be like, don't sell tickets to the fight. He's like, let him run. He's like, just throw the first punch. Welcome.
Yeah.
And I kind of live by that for the most part because not anymore. Like, I'm 36, you know, like I have
There's
no
no
problem.
reason to fight for you, right? Like
I
you
have
get it out. You get it out in the ring. Like there's a reason why I go to jiu-jitsu too. It's like,
Yeah, I have no problem walking away. Like if you call me a pussy, like I literally could care less. And I could be like, I'm out. Now if you do other things to offend me or like my girl or whatever, there's certain things where I'm like, not letting that slide. But like you could talk shit to me all you want. I think we even talked about this last time.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, you can talk shit to me from over there. But if you're getting loud and you're close enough for me to hit, like I will hit you. I'll be the first one. I won't say a word back either.
Yeah.
You can just come like da 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 da. If you get close enough to punching range, I'll hit you.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's the worst. You know, some people listen to this and might be like, well, that's not a good whatever. But you got to have some self-respect and stand up for yourself at some point too, right?
100%. Everybody should have it. And you shouldn't. Here's one of my biggest things is I see people bending over backwards to tell you what you want to hear. And I'm sure that you see this too. Like, I'm sure you saw it the other night. Like, I saw it firsthand, and I wasn't even part of the conversation between you and another person.
And you
And
read
I
through
see
the
them
bullshit.
just like,
You're
yeah, it's like, dude, just like I did to Bert Kreischer this morning.
No, you were just expressing that you're a fan,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. No, I was like, I'm a big fan. And like coming from me, that actually means a lot for me to actually tell somebody that I'm a big fan of them, because that's something that I normally don't do. So, Bert, I hope you're listening to this. Maybe we should just send him an Instagram live and fucking call him out right now.
That's your right too, though. Like, I also think that that's your right? Like, I think I have a different opinion than a lot of like fighters and maybe performers and stuff. To me, does it get in my head? No. Does it piss me off sometimes where you're like, what the fuck? Like, if you bought a ticket, you have the right to think, say whatever you want. Now, if you want to talk shit to me, like, you know, I lost a split decision. If you want to like chirp at me and everything as I'm going down the ramp, that's just like part of the game. That's what you get into, you know?
And I'm pretty sure Denver was in your corner to that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've fought in other countries and states and everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'm on a ramp, I'm walking, whatever.
Yeah.
Half of it I don't even fucking hear. And even if I do, I'm like, I mean, that's your right. You're a fan.
But if you're going to take it outside of the building, that's a different story.
Or
it would be for me anyways. Like I get it inside the building, in the moment, in the man in the arena, right?
If I recognize a person from there and then they followed me and everything, and be like, all right, I'm taking this a little bit more personal now.
Yeah.
But still, even like at a bar, if somebody was like, I hate you, you suck, this and that, that's fine. It's fine. Like, now if you're getting obnoxious, or if I'm like with a group of close friends and like you keep interjecting or whatever, like I'm going to say something. Or
knowing
if you
your
get too close
friends,
to
they're
me,
probably going to handle it before you will.
yeah, I mean, I got a lot of good friends. I've got a lot of very close friends too,
Yeah.
and they like won't put up with shit. But like, that's part of the game, right? Just like we were talking about bands and celebrities and stuff, they get booed all the time. Now, if it gets to an uncomfortable position of where like, I won't let anybody sucker punch me. Well, I hope it's a sucker punch because you don't see it coming. But my rule of thought is, you can, again, talk shit to me from over there. But if you get close enough and I think that like I'm going to get sucker punched or whatever, even if I don't think that, my rule is like, talk shit over there.
Yeah.
If you get close enough and I could touch you, I'm going to touch you.
Well, I think about this, and some of my former military friends have really taught me this, because like when I was doing Supercross or the Baja 1000, I had 7 Navy SEALs around me, or professional fighters, or whoever was there doing security detail, and we had nothing to do but stand there and bullshit with each other. So I would ask them, like, what's the best personal protection for your home? What kind of knives do you carry? You know, like fucking geeking out on
Half-face
what
blades.
these guys did. 100%. Shout out.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Dude.
What an awesome company. So I really got to pick these guys' brains, and they broke it down to me. It was like, it's all about fighting position, like, and being ready. Like, if you're ready before whoever is, like, that's what it's all about. So like, maybe I'm a psychopath now, but when I go into a restaurant with my family, I pick out a specific seat. Like if I see a table, I'm like, can we sit over there?
Yeah.
Because I can see everybody in my family. I can see everybody in the restaurant, and I have nobody that can come from behind me.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense to me. And it's just a simple rule like that. Or as close to the door with all those variables. You know what I mean? Like, and that sounds kind of psycho, but like,
No, I do.
it's okay to like call it out. Like you don't want to go sit in a corner and have your back to it, because literally if an active shooter comes into the situation, like you're totally defenseless at that point. You're backed into a corner already. Or
Yeah, it's not psycho, because that unfortunately is a way of life for us now.
yeah.
It's psycho. Actually, no part of it is psycho. Some people think it's over the top, but like they think it's over the top until something happens. And then they're like, well, I should do this. But if you implement those kind of things, then most likely you're not going to be in those situations. And it's better to never have the experience of being in those situations, right?
Or just
You
be
take
ready
Columbine,
if you're
any
gonna be,
shooting
yeah.
ever. I'm not faulting any of them that they should have known or whatever, but historically there's been enough, especially in Colorado, unfortunately. I think that we have an amazing state, amazing city, but unfortunately we've had a lot of mass shootings.
We've been targeted with it for some reason. Like,
I mean, yeah, like when I go to movies now, I don't go to movies very often, because how many times is it? And it's a horrible thing that you have to worry about that, but being vigilant is better than the alternative, right? I wish I would have, I should have, there's so many little things you can implement in life of like, even as far as like when you pull up to a light or if the car's in front of you, most people will pull up right to the back.
so stupid. It's the worst mistake you can make. You're trapped.
Yeah. And mine comes from like some training stuff I've done for security and also just like buddies in the military and stuff. So like if you take their experiences and learn from them, hopefully you never have to have them, but the real way you should do it is have enough in case you have to pull out. If you pull straight up to the back of a car, you can't go anywhere.
Yep.
If you leave enough room and God forbid anything happens,
You
you
can
have
do a
room to
U-turn,
like pull
you
out.
can do whatever, right? Like know the turning radius of your vehicle, but the rule of thumb is if you can see their back tires touching the asphalt or pavement or whatever you're on, like literally that seam, and you leave your hood, you stop with your hood right there, you should be able to pull out.
Yeah, like you should be able to see their license plate or tires if you want to be even further. But it's just, I think, they say smart people learn from experiences, but I think smarter people learn from other people's experiences.
100%.
Because that's what wisdom is, right? Your parents give you wisdom based on life experience. Your friends can do the same. People that have gone through hard shit, hopefully you never have to.
Yeah.
But knowing that in the back of your head, the more vigilant you are on like just day to day, if you just make it routine, it's not even weird anymore. And it's just, I think that smarter people, you don't have to experience it yourself.
I even think about it on flights. As much as I want to be in a window seat and fall asleep, I don't anymore. I always sit in an aisle.
Yeah.
Because I want to have control over my own fate. So if that's going down, fighting, then at least I have that opportunity and I'm not trapped.
Yeah.
Just think about how much hustle and bustle you would have to go across two people to get to somebody. You know what I mean? That's a lot of...
Totally. And
Yeah.
it sucks that we even have to think about those
Yeah.
things, but I don't think it's crazy at all to think about them, because how many times has it happened?
I also know how to put up the armrest with like a little special key that's on the aisle, so you don't have to like get up and get around it. Like you can put it up and...
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a fucking psycho, but I fly a lot, dude. And that's something that crossed my mind ever since 9/11. Like the Flight 98 and all that sort of shit. I can't imagine going through that. And like, what a fucking horrific way to go, man. Like,
Yeah. I don't think it's psycho. Again, like, even if I break it down into like, I'm training for a fight, half the stuff I train for is like contingency plan. Like, if what I'm doing is not working or what I know he's capable of countering those, it's literally just planning ahead. And your day-to-day life, unfortunately, has to have that,
how many scenarios do you run through your brain? Because I guess that's kind of part of like strategically being ready, whether you're in your home or in a car or whatever. But like fight planning, I would imagine is some of that, like, or playing professional football. They watch film of the other team. I'm sure you're watching some of these other fighters' tendencies. But like, how many different scenarios and game plans do you have? Is it just one, or is it like
No, they vary.
there's multiple?
Yeah, and they vary, and the more experience you get, it's adjustable on the fly, right? So between rounds, my coaches will tell me like, hey, all right, maybe we've been training this thing the whole time. Let's bail on this. Let's go to this. Let's this. Like, I'm not seeing the opening. Like, experience will be able to make you adjust on the fly. Like, you take Beto and those guys, like,
Sure.
they can adjust on the fly. Now, is there an exact
Adapt to
contingency
your
plan?
environment.
Yeah. Is there an exact like contingency plan? No. But this is working. This isn't. Let's get rid of this, even though we've done it for weeks. Stop doing this.
Right.
Let's go to this. And a lot of that is like experience, just your level of like the concept of the game. That's where, when I was younger, I used to think experience didn't matter, because making my name, I fought a lot of like older fighters that were kind of on their, like, they hit their peak, and then like I'm making a name off them. Granted, they didn't think that. So along the way, I started being.
It's a vicious game too, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that part of it is vicious, right? Like,
The guys that have been around too long know that they've been around too long too, and they're collecting checks, and maybe not all of them, but in the back of their head, they know. But along the way, I started getting that experience to like change. If you go in with one game plan and it doesn't work in any part of life, business, fucking the military, whatever, you're fucked.
shit's gonna come up.
Most people don't go in with one game plan. I bet even for this podcast, you didn't come in with just like I was talking about in the beginning, how I used to come with bullet points.
Yeah.
That was one game plan, and it would be so choppy and fucked up because I came in with one game plan. When I started learning how to like talk to people and listen more and like just go with the conversation, then I could go on the fly. That's experience in itself, is being able to like adjust on the fly.
I love these second podcasts because like I feel like the first one, like that was the first time I had met you. So we're just filling each other out. We've hung out a few times outside of that first podcast. You've had some amazing achievements in your career. Like I've been able to follow you. You've had some disappointments in your career, and I've been alongside you. So I feel like the bonds that I build in here are friendships. So like the second interviews,
Yeah, they're better.
and they're not even interviews. It's just a hangout. Like I had nothing. I didn't have to worry about anything. Like literally we set this up yesterday. You were like, well, what's tomorrow look like for you? Like we were on the phone yesterday
That's my life.
at this time. Mine too, dude.
People are like, what are you doing next month on the 20th? And I'm like, I don't even know if I'll be alive.
Oh, dude. And that's crazy. That's what happens. That's what's happening to me with the podcast right now is people are reaching out to me and they're like, hey, I think I'm going to have some no availability in January. And I'm like, dude, unless it's 2 weeks out, like, I don't know what my schedule is. Like, I don't plan that far ahead. I'm sorry.
That was
Maybe
mine.
I'm a piece of shit, but like, I'm very much just like a by the moment. So like, whenever I hit you up, don't ever feel like, oh, fuck, I'm letting him down. Like, dude.
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
Because like my life lives on the fly, kind of like I'm structured. Like my days are structured for the most part, but
Yeah, there's certain things you have to get done, right?
but half the time it's 2 days before. Even Whitney was asking me about like,
It's the best.
what are we
way to
doing in
live.
January? Like, what about this? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I get a fight offer or this. Like,
Right.
my life revolves around like shit comes up, and like then I prioritize it, right? Is it high priority, low priority? And low doesn't mean like disrespectful. It just means like, do I have to?
Right.
Or is it something I want to? And then you start like,
As
filling
you
it
get a
out.
little bit older and you still have you're in the prime of your fucking career right now, I think, Chris. Like,
I think
an
so. too.
animal, dude. Like, you're incredible. Like, fucking keep
Oh,
going,
thank you.
dude. Like, it is not over for you yet. Like, keep fucking going. Friend to friend. Like, no podcast, no bullshit. Like, you're in your prime, dude. Fucking love seeing it. Once you get a little bit older and you get over that hump and that time comes, like I am probably, and you get kind of a little bit more set in your ways, like you'll find like take that time for you. Like mine is September. My favorite thing to do is to be in the backcountry and go out there and suffer and come back with back pains and lose all my muscle mass that I worked for fucking 2
Your
weeks.
legs gotta
Because
be bigger though.
I don't know, man.
If you're
like,
hiking, I feel like your legs are burned.
dude, I know because I've been doing these fucking body scans and shit, and like I lost inches off of everywhere, and I guarantee you everywhere, including my dick. Probably got a little bit shorter out there. Definitely because I didn't kill a bull.
Your wife's calling in right now.
No, she could probably tell you.
She's like, no, he's right. He's right.
But yeah, no, if it gets kicked that many times, it's going to get shorter, right? But
fuck, I hope not. I've been kicked a lot.
yeah, I don't know. I know that I lost muscle mass just by like how my clothes fit and like that.
We're not eating the same and everything.
Yeah, no, like you're hardly eating, dude. I'm eating like fucking beef biltong and like staying out in the woods for like 3 days because I think that because I've gotten the taste of a few bugles and like having elk coming in from different directions, like, oh, I'm not going back to base camp where all the food and water's at, you know?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to fucking suck water out of this cow shit infested, puddle to fucking strain into an Nalgene bottle that tastes like shit so I can just stay hydrated. Like,
I feel like there's nothing that compares to that, actually.
there isn't.
Switching to hunting.
It's
like,
very primal.
you can be, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. I'm over it. Yeah, you know what? Probably another hour I'm going to leave or whatever. I'm just going to call it early. And then you hear one sound and you're like, your mind and everything is back up. You're like, oh, shit, they're right here. Like, you can even like will yourself, convince yourself. And who knows if you even heard another hunter, but you're like, I heard it. I'm staying put. And you could literally stay another like 3 days. When you were ready to go, like in the next hour, if I don't hear anything, see anything, I'm going to pack up and leave.
So I went with my little brother. This was before your fight, and the weather was epic. Like the first day we went up, fucking awesome. We hiked into these benches at like 10,000 feet.
Where did
it's
you
about
go?
a
Like
5-mile hike. I'm not gonna name the area on here. I'll tell you
or like
afterwards.
closest city. I'm trying to think of geographically, like what.
Okay, so let's say in between.
It doesn't have to be in between.
Okay,
What would be
let's
like a
just
close
say
area?
the Flat Tops Wilderness. Okay.
Okay.
And there's the spots where I go. It's like prehistoric land, dude. It is fucking wild. Like we've all seen aspen trees, right? Like,
yeah.
Especially living in Colorado, you know what they are. Like people travel in from all over the world just to come see the leaves change, right? Generally, an aspen tree is about the size of this Don Julio bottle, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 10, 12 inches. There's aspen trees where I go that you can literally not even wrap your arms around. It's like prehistoric fucking.
Really?
I will take you sometime, dude. It's a long ways away. It's not easy to get to.
I have an idea what you're talking
There's
about.
a ton of elk there. It's fucking epic country. Like there's plants there that you're like, were these around when dinosaurs were around? Like you feel like a small
fucking
person.
T-Rex
walking
coming
into
out of
this-
here.
Yeah. You feel like a small person in this. It's very humbling, right? And there's all kinds of different interactions. I had more interactions with predators than I had actual elk.
Which
because
is
the
fun in
elk are
itself.
so, elusive. Like I saw more black bears, more mountain lion sign. I didn't see a mountain lion this time. I did last season. Like physically saw one in the wilderness is almost unheard of unless you have dogs or purposely hunting them. Like
Mountain lion?
Yeah.
I've seen a few.
So
Remind me after you're done with your story. I have a wild story about a buddy of mine that was elk hunting. I'll show you the picture too.
I love these stories. So yeah, we're going down this path. But anyways, the first night we get up there, we hike up this. I hadn't picked up my bugle at all, right? And normally I don't bugle a whole lot. Like normally we're out like cow calling and stuff. Just because the influx of hunters, like a lot of times you'll call in more hunters than you'll call in elk.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty good at it. I grew up doing it since I was a kid, so I know how to fucking use a bugle. And for people that have never elk hunted,
it's the coolest sound in the
bugle
world.
is like, it's so epic up here. Like I leave my windows open at night. It's still cold, and the wife and kid are like, "Hey, it's kind of cold in here." I was like, "No, I want to hear the elk bugle."
I do that too, even if I'm not hunting.
Yeah.
Like sitting outside or whatever and hearing it. Like if I'm at a cabin or whatever, I'll be like, hold on, listen. Hearing that like scream.
The best it's so primal, right? Like
Well, it's also the only ivory in North America.
Yes.
The buglers,
Yeah.
their teeth, their molars are ivory.
And that's actually what it's whistling through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. And it sounds like, for somebody that doesn't know what a bugle is or has never heard one, I'm sure you can search it. Sometimes red stags come up, and that's more of like a grunt. But the North American elk bugle, like, look that up.
It's not even that cool online.
It's not.
Person,
You have to hear it in person. Could you imagine being the first person that heard that sound the first time ever? You're like, Jesus Christ.
Like there's witches in the forest.
What the fuck is that? I mean,
I'm leaving.
dude, that is so insane. It is such an eerie, like, it's something that literally makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck. You know, like that old saying, or the
It doesn't get old.
Gets goosebumps, right? Like,
I've heard it since a kid. It
Yeah.
literally to this day, it doesn't get old. Whether I'm hunting or not, I'm just like, oh fuck, that's
it's
cool.
so epic, dude. I thrive for it, man. And like, and then even their mentality and just like the aggressiveness that comes with that, like,
They come in like,
it's a war cry, man. Like they're
Fucking
like
or
clunking
fighting.
their throats. Yeah,
I feel you guys.
Yeah.
I feel you.
yeah. It's
It's the
all
only
out.
things I fight over.
I guess the best way I could describe it, and I've been using this term for a long time, and I don't know where I got it. My brother claims he made it up. Shout out. But it's like Jurassic Park. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Jurassic Park, the bugle it mimics what the velociraptors and the T-Rexes make. And sometimes it'll be right outside my bedroom window here. Like, I
know.
saw more elk in my yard than I saw the entire elk hunting trip I went up. But
So when I first started archery hunting, you say Jurassic Park. That was the exact analogy I used. So
yeah.
I grew up rifle hunting forever, and like I've heard them and everything, but archery hunting is a whole different thing. So
It's the best.
I've been fortunate enough. I have not gotten any elk with my bow, but every year I've gotten in on them. Where if you're listening and you haven't, in on them means like I'm close enough. So I was in.
Within 100 yards. Let's say that.
My first time was within, I bet, 40.
Yeah.
So I was on the crest of a hill.
Let's go, Chris. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I was on the crest of a hill, right? So here, they were literally on the other side. Like, I could smell them. It smelled like shit. Like, just gross. Like, you could smell them.
I literally came home 2 days after elk hunting, and my wife was like, "You stink still." And I was like, "Really? I don't smell it anymore." She's
Yeah.
like,
So what we were trying to do, I was with two buddies. We were trying to get them to crest the hill because you couldn't see them, right? You couldn't get a shot. And
they're so smart.
but we heard like smacking, sticks breaking, everything. Like I could hear the bulls like crack, crack, like smacking their head against the tree because we were cow calling, and so eventually we heard like and like shit started breaking down, like trees breaking down, bushes, everything. And this is my first year archery hunting, so I was like, my heart was racing like a fight. I was like, oh shit, like, and it sounded like Jurassic Park because as we kept calling, we started hearing it break hard, like they were running. And I like stepped behind a tree because I thought they were gonna come like,
They'll come right to you.
I thought they were gonna come over the hill like at me. And because I was new at archery hunting, I should have been on top of the hill, right? I was just below it. They were right here. And I heard all these sticks and shit start breaking. And like I could hear like, like I could hear them grunting. Never saw them. My buddy who was over here saw a little bit, and he took like an early shot. And they scattered. But when they scattered, we just heard like the whole forest was getting wrecked.
They're so fast, and they just barrel through shit. Like,
but that was like one of the wildest moments. I can still remember it exactly. Like I'm watching because I could see that I'm here. I don't know if people can even see this, but I'm on the hillside. So I'm thinking like I'll at least see them. I never saw a body. I never saw anything, but I thought I was going to get run over, and just like it was close enough to hear them grunting and hearing like just like how like huffy puffy they were, like you know, because bull elk are like, I'm fucking or fighting. They're looking for cows or bulls to fight. And this bull was with a bunch of cows because my buddy had a cow tag and he ended up shooting at one. And unfortunately, according to him, which makes sense, his arrow actually hit a tree branch because it deflected, and we found it in the side of the hill, like opposite way he was shooting. And it was his first time too. So when he shot, he didn't realize like there were branches hanging. So he shot at a cow. I had a bull tag. He had a cow tag.
It's crazy. There's rangefinders now that you can buy for archery. Like me and Dustin just went up and shot American Bowman. We got to get up there.
I know.
Can we go before the 14th? Like when you get back?
Yeah.
Okay, because they're about to tear down the...
I got nothing but time.
They're about to tear down the north side, and then we can go shoot the other side. But
yeah,
it's fucking epic, dude. Like Dustin had the best time. We had him shooting 100 yards up there.
Dustin has the best time everywhere. That dude doesn't have a bad time anywhere.
I love that dude. Shout out Dustin Jacoby.
But yeah, my buddy that I was with, he like hit a branch because when we went looking for his arrow, and like once I came to him after he shot, we heard him like literally Jurassic Park, like shit was getting mowed down. There was a herd of them. He didn't see all of them, but I could hear them. It was definitely a lot of them because it was like shit was just like mowed down. And he showed me where he shot. We walked down and it was like a steep hill. And his arrow was like this way, basically like opposite direction. So like, he's like, fuck. And he was like out of breath. He's like, you know, like first year. But just that in general, like I didn't give a shit if I got anything or not. It was just cool as fuck to be.
Oh, it's the best, man. And that's what I was getting at. So bring it back full circle. The first night we went up there, me and my brother, like we went in the morning, drove all the way up there. It's like 5 hours deep, right? It's 5 hours from here. And like the last hour and a half is literally like 4-wheel drive trails to get to base camp. So we set up base camp and then we hiked our asses off to get into the spot before dark. It's about an hour hike into it, up a 4-wheel drive trail, then an hour hike from there. We get in there prime time, right? And it's like maybe an hour, 2 hours before dark. And I set up with him and I was like, okay, let's start cow calling. Let's cow call for the first half an hour. And then the last half an hour till dark, I'm going to start ripping some bugles. And we're either going to figure out what hunters are in the area or what elk. So I started doing 2 different bugles and moving it around and like fucking thrashing these willow bushes and shit. And we were sitting on water, like in this kind of basin that's at like 10,000 feet where like the elk just kind of, dude, we had them coming in from like every direction. It was just like, I mean, so then we started like, fuck, we're getting the wind right. And I was like, let's start moving towards this one. And then there was other ones coming in. But then it got so dark that we never got a shot off, but we could hear him. And if you can hear him bugling, and you can tell the difference between a hunter and somebody that's on a call, like I can tell.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like in the heat of the moment you can't because you're like
sometimes
so hyped up.
If you're bloodthirsty, yeah.
I mean, if they're really bad, you could tell.
Yeah.
The rest
of the time I called in nothing but hunters.
There's been times where like I've been like, oh shit, because you want to hear it so bad too, right?
Dude, you even start hearing it. You want to hear it so bad, you even start hearing it when it's not happening.
Well, and
like I've been laying in my tent at night, and all I hear is continuous bugles.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm fucking a psychopath.
The other side of it is, always tell people. I mean, I do this every year. I don't know if you do or other people. Since I was a kid, like when you first get out hunting, and you see something move, you're like, is that one? Is that one? And then you see an actual elk, and you're like, I was out of my fucking mind thinking that like the little thing I saw move in the woods and being like, and then you watch that spot forever and you don't see anything. When you see one, you're like, oh, I wouldn't miss that because like it's a big ass animal walking through.
Yeah, and they're not the most graceful thing either. They're kind of, they're super agile. I've never seen animals move up the side of a mountain face like elk have before. When they blow out, like you were talking about,
when they're
you're
out,
talking like
when they're not worried about being quiet.
They're going
like
5 miles in 30 minutes.
They'll be in the next county.
And over over a mountain ridge, like that would take you all day to hike over. Like they are fucking gone.
When they get spooked, yeah, they're mowing shit down.
Yeah.
I gotta say, elk hunting is one of the coolest things ever. Whether you get anything or not, that's my thing. Is like, maybe I don't go in with the like, I'm getting something. I like being out there hiking, feeling like a ninja. Like, once I started archery hunting, I was like, man, this is cool to get like camoed out. And you just like move quiet,
Face paint and everything. Like, let's go.
and you move quiet, but also like you don't have to be as quiet as everybody thinks, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not quiet. When you're around them, you hear like,
The biggest thing is the wind.
yeah,
The
the
wind.
smell. It's not always the sound.
That's
It's-
their first. I think that, and I would say hearing is third. I think eyesight is probably second. Like their eyesight is unfucking believable. Like they'll have an eagle eye. Like I've been stalking in on a bull and like I'll glass him. This happened to me this year. I glassed him like across a fucking ridge where I have to go like, dude,
You're like next peak.
probably 6 miles. So then I drive to my truck to where I think it's at, and I pay attention to what the wind's doing, and I'm going to try to sneak down on top of them. I've gotten literally within 300 yards of them and looking at them through my binoculars, and I swear to God, their eye will turn and look at me, and they'll just walk off the ridge like, fuck you. Like, I'm not playing today.
I mean, that's why it's like hunting, not killing, because it
Yeah.
makes zero sense to me. Because rifle hunting, I've been out sitting there and I'll admit, like falling asleep, just chilling on a mountain. I've woken up to elk literally right in front of me. My first year hunting, I was 12. I fell asleep in, let's say, southern Colorado. Fall asleep, wake up, and I'm like, what the fuck? This hillside was like dark. It was a herd of elk. Like waking up, and I was probably snoring, or maybe not. I was 12. My nose hadn't been broken a bunch or anything. But I woke up and was like, looks different color. It was like 100 yards away. And like trying to look through the scope, and I'm like, holy fuck, like all the brown, it was like a herd of elk of like 500.
Wow.
Just sitting there,
Yeah.
like grazing. You know, it was like, and I ended up killing my first cow there. Of just waking
Yeah.
up from a fucking nap and being like, you never think they would get that close to you, but when you're in the woods, like you don't realize how many.
Archery is different, man. Like I like taking it to that next level where I'm like staying in the shadows. Like I'll never sit in the sunlight because
Yeah.
actually where I got spotted by that bull was in direct sunlight. So who knows if he saw like the glare off of my fucking
Or if you have sunscreen on or whatever, they smell
anything.
fucking
Yeah,
everything.
dude, they're not. No, I shower in non-scent soap. I use non-scent deodorant. I put fucking cow piss wafers on my backpack.
Not me, I
hate-
piss everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to fight, bitch.
Well, that's crazy. Like some guys will take it to the extreme of like getting bull urine from another bull, so they smell
Oh, I know
like
plenty
a
of
bull.
those guys. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. They're trying to spray me. I'm like, I'm good, dude.
Yeah.
You're not spraying piss all over
Yeah.
me. I'll piss all over you if you want. You want to smell like a fucking something else?
I'm still a guy that's like, if I get back to base camp, if I'm spike camping, that's a whole different story. You ain't doing shit. Like you're eating out of fucking MRE, like Peak Meals or fucking Mountain House or whatever.
I know
It
what you're
sucks.
saying. Base camp, though, you take your shit off so it doesn't smell like campfire.
I take all that shit off. We don't even have a campfire because like literally the way that I hunt is like some people call it hunting, right? And I think that this is what my wife thinks is going on. Like you're all sitting around the campfire drinking beer,
Bunch of
and we're
hookers
gonna get up, playing poker and fucking.
We got all these hookers to
Yeah.
hire in, babe.
Yeah.
Like they hiked up everything, paid them extra.
Dude, we're so dead by the time you get back to camp. It's 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah,
and if you're gonna get up at first light, right?
Fucking 9, I feel like is late.
yeah.
There's times I've
by
looked and I've been like, it's 7, and you're like, if the
Yeah.
sun's down, you're down.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, now with the new time change thing, like normally the time would change to where you were getting up at like 4 or 5, but now like it doesn't get light until 7, and it gets dark at 6 or 7 to 7 basically is what it is right now.
Yeah.
I only know this because I've been hunting, but it's typically 7 to 7. So first light is at 7, last light is at 7. But if you're fucking 4 miles in where the elk are at, you still got to hike 4 miles out on headlands.
In the dark.
So by the time you get to your truck, it's 8:30. By the time you fucking get to camp, and that's fucking hoofing it.
Like,
Like
give me
trying
the
to
peanut
go in the
butter
dark.
and jelly.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Oh, dude, you don't even care about that. It's like a protein bar
I'll
in
eat
the
a
truck
bag of
ride.
shit. Just put it in front of me.
And then honestly, like the worst thing I do, like I sleep really well if I've had a shower. So like we made like this makeshift like fucking shower, right?
Oh,
like
you're bougie, motherfucker. I
Yeah.
don't shower for like a week.
Oh, really?
I might not even change my clothes. If
I'll
I'm
go
around the
like
fire,
3 days.
I'll sleep in my shit. So I just wake up and be like, all right, I'm out.
I'll go
I won't
3
be around the
days.
fire in it, but when I go to bed, I'll put it all on. So that all I have to do in the morning is like, I'll zip out of the bag, get up and be like, oh, I'm ready.
Oh, 100%. Like I'm a piece of shit like that too. But like a
You're calling me
shower.
a piece of shit?
But a shower is refreshing, dude. Yeah. Especially when it's a cold plunge. When you can see your breath and you're out there like
No,
at night fucking a little
I'm not a
bit-
cold
Yeah.
person.
Really?
No, fuck
You're not
no.
into the cold
Fuck
plunges?
I mean, I got one. I do it. I hate it.
It sucks.
I'm not doing it when I'm out there and gonna be cold the rest of the
Yeah.
day either.
But if you're 6 days deep and you just made it back to base camp, that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm not talking about like,
I don't shower.
dude, there's
They smell me too.
there's
really.
some kind of shit that grows underneath your balls, dude. That like I
I
don't
use-
want.
I'll use like baby wipes and shit. Like I'll bring them with
that's
me. I'll
showering,
leave 'em-
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we call it a horse bath. Sorry, ladies.
Yeah.
It's a horse bath. You know,
Yeah.
or you like a river and like if it's warm enough, you're just like.
That's what I'm talking. That's what this is, dude. It's a
Wash the
bag.
important
It's
parts.
a bag of water that's been hanging in a tree.
Oh,
And
you're
it's
not
a-
talking like standing in there.
No,
like,
it's barely like a trinkle. So it's like a little bit of soap and just fucking wash your balls, your ass crack. Like I don't want to get too graphic here, but like that's what it is, man. It's like, and your underarms and like your face and like get the fucking war paint off you
I'll
a
just
little
use
bit.
a wipe.
Yeah.
Can we take one more break?
100%. Yeah. Let's wrap it up after this here too.
All right.
It just says, Bobby, kill them all. Scott Parker.
How cool is that motherfucker? Scott Parker is one of my
Such
favorite
a
people
savage,
ever.
dude. We're back. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Smartest, savage, smartest buck, and just like sweetest dude ever too. Because Whitney is like he's like the biggest teddy bear. She's like, I want to hug him. And she's like,
Yes.
he's so like adorable and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, he was also one of the most like feared guys in the NHL. But when you meet him, he's just like, we went to their house and he's just like, oh, give me a hug. Like,
Such good people, man. Like I have nothing but like just I can't explain it, dude. It's like a biker gang mentality or a mafia mentality or like but they're genuinely good people. I'm not saying that they're involved in international crime wars or fucking
No.
anything like that. Like they're just genuinely good people. But they have my back already. They're just like, we love you.
I told you when you
Fucking
met them,
like-
they're like they're literally like the nicest family I've ever met, and they look like, and they know I love them, but
Yeah.
they look like the roughest family ever. Like Scott's like neck tattoos, big
Yeah.
beard, like he looks like he's in a biker gang. Francesca's got like head tattoos, face tattoos, and she's like, "Would you like me to make you some coffee?" honey?" Like, I preface that like I told Whitney that before. I'm like, when you meet Francesca, she looks like I'm gonna cut your fucking head off.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God. And she's just like hugging, kissing. And she's just, like their family, DJ, also face tatted, everything. But then he's like, what do you need?
So dope.
It's
so dope.
I
And
can't
you know
even
what?
explain it. It's
You know
like,
what's funny is like, do know, and I've been around, or like, let's just say this, not even a club name. I'm gonna bleep that out. The biker clubs that I've been around, those are the experiences that I have with those people, even though they're very much like the Parkers. Like
that's how like
they're just a ride or die mentality.
that's how
Like,
the
they
fight
love
community
you.
is too.
Yeah.
It's like there's a certain loyalty of the game when you come down to like a sport or people that like do fuck people up. Don't get me wrong. It might not always be right. I'm not like promoting any shit.
And it gets very cliquey too, man. Like I support Colorado fighters.
Yeah.
I support Colorado blood. I support
It's like a brotherhood, but it's not even a brotherhood anymore. Not to get all like woke culture, but I mean like you got to say the sisterhood too, right? Because like
it's
Cheska Parker is the hardest bitch, and she runs the family.
Retired police officer. Come on,
but like she's a fucking gangster. Like so you can't say brotherhood anymore. I feel like, and it's not anymore like I said because
tribe.
of woke culture. But
they call it a tribe, dude. And it really is.
And let's be honest, like in a sense, women run a little bit, right? Because
they run my household. Dude, I got 2 daughters and a wife. And it's me and my son are on our fucking own, dude. Like,
but that's not even like emasculating if you think about it.
It's not. My mom raised me to be a man.
Same. And all through time, well, first off, where does everybody come from? They come from women. And also, like, hard women breed hard men. Soft women breed soft men.
Yeah.
There's certain times where I hear, like, a lot of this, like, preachy culture about, like, men, like, you need your dad, this and that. Some of the biggest fucking gangsters out there are mothers. And it's a fact.
Single mothers.
Yeah. And maybe they're not even single, but, like, there's some moms out there that breed savages.
Francesca.
Yeah. Exactly. And like DJ Parker is my boy, and like Scott Parker, his dad was a legend, like NHL legend, monster, fought everybody. Like that was his job, was just to fight people on the ice.
One of the baddest men in hockey ever.
Yeah. And he has no problem with like Francesca is like the glue to the family, but she also like, so my last fight,
she's the general.
She texted me. We talked like the day of. She's like, I'm not gonna make it to the fight. It's boys' night. Like, she knows like, let the men be men and like boys do this shit. And like, she's the coolest fucking woman I've ever met. Even being at their house, she's like, yeah, there's poker nights here. Sometimes she's like, I'll leave. Let all the guys come. She's like, let the strippers come. Everything. She's like, I'll be out of here. That way. You know, and I mean, if you're listening and your husband was there, that's not all the time. It's just like there's times, and like
I want to shout out something.
Is a fucking epitome of like wife. Wait, is epitome the right word?
Yeah, it could be epitome.
Like good. I mean, like
the example.
The example. Okay, is that the right word?
The example of a ride or die, and that's what I was getting back to when you and I were talking off mic about a partner in crime, like. That's what your significant other should be, as a partner in crime, is how I feel about it. Like whether you're committing crimes together or not, it should be a team effort. It should be they have your back, you have theirs.
Yeah.
It's not all about lust and love and fucking romantic movies, and like that shit all has its time and place.
That all comes with honesty too. We were kind of talking about that, like so yeah, Whitney, my girlfriend, like, man, I love that girl to death. Like,
she's so rad.
The end of the world, and she is. And like, to any haters out there, like, her and I have been honest with each other. We met each other in like a fucked up time. I know everything about her. I know it all. So if you are listening and you think you're gonna come at me with some shit, like, I already know it. We sat out and literally like laid out all the honesty, everything.
Here's all my chips. They're on the table.
Yeah. Don't fucking scare me away. Everything I had to say didn't scare her away. Like, fuck you. Come at it. Like,
I love it.
There's specific examples, like, not even bringing up here, but like, if you don't think I don't know, I know. So,
well, we're going to keep this going off mic. We're fucking coming up on time. But before we jump off, if you have some more time to spend with us.
Always.
What's your schedule like today? Are you good?
Today? I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Brooke Kreischer, you better fucking come through. The machine. No, you mentioned something about like a run back through BKFC. Like, I want to see it. I feel like that's unsettled business. I know we had the after party, we had the toast and all that shit. Lorenzo's cool. I got to chop it up with him for a brief second.
It's not even a run back. Here's the thing, is like, I told him that night, I've told him since, I'm like, you know we're not done, right? If you look at, it's funny, if you look at social media, I started following him after the fight. He's still posting about the fight and like, so I post like clips from the fight. I'm just like, oh, that's a cool moment. I look good, whatever. He's still chirping like he didn't win the fight. I don't think he fully believes he won the fight. I honestly don't honestly
My
fully
honest
believe
opinion,
he won the fight.
100%. I don't believe he won the fight.
It doesn't go, it was indecisive, right? You have judges and shit. That's why I said at the beginning of this podcast, here's my offer. Let's go to BKFC's running in Thailand, all these other places. He said he's willing to die in there, right? I won't put that to the test. I'm not saying it has to be to the death, but I said the same thing, and I'm willing to, let's do this rematch in Thailand. No round limit.
I like it.
No round limit. We go till there's a winner. I don't give a fuck about the scoring.
I feel like I have to fly to Thailand for this fight now.
Hey, let's get it done. I mean, I'm dead set. Like, if that contract comes across the table, done, sign. It will be, let's do no limit. We'll go until somebody wins. Split decision, nobody feels good about. I know he doesn't feel good about it. Look at his face at the end of the fight. He wasn't pumped about it. He wasn't excited about it. I wasn't either.
I don't think anybody was pumped about that. Like, I feel like it should have gone more rounds. I think you're 100% right.
Let's get the judges out of the way.
The fight ended too fucking soon.
Let's do no judges. Let's do 2-minute rounds until somebody goes down and doesn't get up.
Last man standing.
Absolutely. I'm 100%. Dude, that hypes me up. That's the kind of shit that gets me excited. Because, like, the other stuff, like, I was excited about the title fight. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Biggest opportunity ever. And, yeah, I mean, like, sure, it's a loss of my record. Keep the loss, whatever.
Is this an actual possibility with this organization, though?
I would say yes.
Are you spitting bullshit, or is this an actual possibility?
I don't work for the organization, but I'll say, let's do it.
You know the president, though. Like, you've been involved in the promotion. Like, is this something that he would bite on?
It doesn't even have to be him, right? So this would be an open challenge. Lorenzo Hunt. We go to someplace like Thailand.
A private pay-per-view?
No, I mean, you could sell it. If it's not in the States where it's regulated, we go to a place like Thailand where they're already doing shows. We can do 2-minute rounds. We could do no rounds.
Is that why there was the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thrill in Manila and all that sort of type of shit?
A little
like
bit. Going back
history?
to then, Ali wasn't allowed to fight in the U.S. because of like dodging the war or whatever they call it.
Right.
But this will be an open challenge, right? So you can make a clip of this. Here's my open challenge to Lorenzo Hunt. We can finish this. Let's go to an unregulated place. Actually, I think he even might live in Puerto Rico or has training in Puerto Rico.
Cool. That's still U.S.
We go somewhere like that. It can air on a pay-per-view. We go either round for round or no time limit until somebody goes down. Why not? This is the most exciting thing I can think of for the division. He's already knocked out everybody else in the Cruiserweight division. I'll give him that respect. I'll give him all of that. We go either round for round or no time limit, but let's fight till somebody goes down and doesn't get up. Doesn't have to be till the death. It could be, but let's find out who wins.
Let's go.
Because I know I'll win.
Let's go. Chris Camozzi. Thank you for coming in. Let's end it on that note, dude. Let's have a good time now. Cheers, my brother. And, yeah, I want to see it run back. I'm ready.
Me too. Can I take a quick minute? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal the mic.
Let's go.
No, I want to shout out because, like, honestly, this title fight and everything has brought me some amazing sponsors. And I know if you're listening, you don't give a fuck. You're like, cool, whatever. But Mitt 45, Kratom.
What is Mitt 45?
Mitt 45 is a Kratom company. So
Okay.
that sounded like a loaded question. What is Mitt 45? Mitt 45 is a. We didn't
No,
plan
it
that.
isn't. I honestly
We
don't. I
didn't
don't even
plan
know
that.
what a crated company is.
No, Kratom.
Kratom.
So Kratom, man.
What the fuck is that?
Dude, so I've taken
I'm
Mitt 45, the gold. They call it the gold. It's gold and black. It's in every gas station you go to. I bet if we go on the corner right here, it's there.
Okay.
There's ones for relaxation, but there's ones for energy.
Got you.
Their boost one, I'm telling you, I was taking every sparring session beforehand instead of pre-workout. So the name of the game for MMA, combat sports, everything is low heart rate. So pre-workout, and I fucking love pre-workout. I love pre-workout because you feel it right away and you're just like, ah, but it speeds up your heart rate. So that's not conducive to like athletic performance. Mint 45, on the other hand, kratom is like a Southeastern Asian herb. But in low doses, it's energetic. So their Boost, they have one called Boost. It looks like the 5-hour energy. Those are my, like, I've been crushing those
Send
things.
me some of these shits.
I know. I'll bring you some.
Let's go.
I meant to bring some today and I left early. But yeah, Mint 45. Shout out to them. Half Face Blades, we talked about a bunch. I can't say enough about them.
I love this company. There's stickers on the table. We have some Stone Tools here. I own a bunch of their blades. I can vouch for this company. Personal friend of ours. Incredible blade.
Yeah,
incredible in the backcountry. Go get one.
Was it at Spec Operator, SPEC Operator? That's
Vito's, but at Half Face Blades too, or halffacebblades.com.
It's a cool ass company.
Good luck getting a blade. Have fun.
I know. I'm going to the factory this week, and I can't wait. I'm gonna be like, what do you got that I could buy? Because like, I've already bought some shit from them. Like their shirts, everything, even like their gear is cool. Like you said, the logo, their logo. Yeah. Everybody, every time I put it on my stuff.
But if you want real tools for real, whatever you're tackling, whether it's tactically, backcountry, whatever, these are well thought out, engineered, handcrafted works of art.
Yeah.
So and then something you're proud to carry, and it works.
There's another one that I feel like will resonate with your audience. And here, we'll do a deal because I haven't even done this yet. Gallotech, GALLOW tech.com. Check them out. So every time you go into a gun store and everything, you see like the cool display.
Oh, is this the commando wall you've been?
Yeah.
Yes.
The wall in my room.
I fucking love
I got Whitney. I convinced Whitney to let me put it in front of my like Jordan shoe thing. I'm like, let me just put it in the bedroom. So when you go to gun stores, but they also make like cabinets, safes, everything. I mean, they've done everything from like the king of Saudi Arabia and shit, like his house. They make custom rooms. Everything they do is custom. Not everything. You can buy like slat walls. I would love to get you one in here actually.
That'd be awesome.
They're display walls. And he's actually a techie like you. You know, he grew up in like the rock scene.
Okay.
And I bet you know him. We'll talk about off camera, but Gallotech. If you message me and you hear this about Gallotech, shoot me a message and just say you heard it on Mountainside. I'll figure out a discount for you after this because I didn't even talk to him about it before. But they're a really cool company out of Utah. Everything's USA made.
Fucking love it.
They don't outsource. It's a cool ass company.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm all about that sort of stuff, man. I love gear. I love keeping it organized and fucking. Yeah, let's go.
Blow some shit up. All right. We're out.
All right, Chris, dude, thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you.
See you next week. Come back up. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm be your co-host now.
Yeah, it'll be a couple months. Hey, seriously, if you want, man, it's open. I got to talk to you about some other endeavors we got going on. Another podcast I'd love to have you on. I don't know if you know about this, but follow Show Ready Podcast. There's some shit coming down the pipeline. We started it. We ended it. We're starting it again. So.
All right.
So
you gotta tell me after this.
Listen up. Yeah. But yeah, man, I love you, brother.
Hey,
thank you so much for everything, dude. Love watching you fight. Let's run it back. I'm going to Thailand with you.
Hey, Lorenzo, don't be a bitch. Let's do this for real.
Let's go.
We'll go till somebody goes down.
All right. Hell yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.